I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we're starting sort of kind of on time today. I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough stuff to talk about before the start of a match, but let's see how we can use the extra time to our advantage. So we're having a long day of Carcassonne today ahead of us. We're not gonna watch all the matches, we're gonna watch at least two and maybe a third one. So in about 7 minutes, the crucial match for a place in the playoffs, really, at least it so seems, between Romania and Taiwan, two very strong teams. After that, in 2 hours, we're going to see how the US will try to resist against the strong German team. And after that, if we have time left, we'll have a bit of a glimpse on China Colombia, because China and Colombia will playing at the same time as US and Germany. So if the USA and Germany finish early, we'll get to watch a game. If they finish late, then we'll get to just analyze one game from the China Colombia match. Hopefully, all the battles are close. That one of the team wins narrowly 3-2, and we get as much drama as we possibly can. Alrighty, so let's look at the lineups of the Romanian and the Taiwanese team first. So both teams seem to actually just use their number one players, so the strongest, the highest rated players. I see at least three masters on Taiwan's roster. So Minwei Chen with the screen name Hotly, then Steven Chang, and then Lisa Tseng. Both were rated above 700, very strong players. I don't know that much about the other two players, but they I assume will show some resistance to the players over here. And in Romania, we have, of course, the Carcassonne brothers. We have Bogdan Kurkan with the screen name Game Over, whom you have seen on the channel many times, who actually co-hosted with me a couple of times. Then we see the 2019 World Champion and 2022 Mind Sports Olympia Champion, undoubtedly one of the strongest players in the world at the moment, Marian Kurkan with the screen name Mars 15. Then another strong player with the screen name Girapa Arpad Gere. Then with the screen name Tabata, we have... Okay, let me try to pronounce this correctly, because his name is actually Hungarian. Hi, Glovir. Hi, everyone who's watching this. I see we already have more viewers. Andras Tachos. That's my best guess on how this works. Actually, I don't know if many of you know this, but Hungary has a sizable. Romania has a. Why did I say Hungary? Okay, I see what I did. But Romania has like a sizable Hungarian-speaking population, and also Andras was the Hungarian champion at some point. He actually used to live in Hungary, and then also Ervin Gal, another well-known player whom you have seen on this channel at some points as well. I mean, not literally on this channel, but like we've reviewed his games. I think we should start with Bogdan versus Minwei in the first, and then I hope to have a glimpse of actually at least a bit of everyone. I like even the last one. Well, the last one may be a bit of an issue because Ervin's known for playing very fast, and it's just very difficult to comment when things change so fast. But sure, we'll have a small glimpse of them. Now we have to watch Marin at some point, and we have to watch Steven Chang. And now a couple of reminders. First of all, about the rules of the championship. It's pretty straightforward. There's going to be 5 duels happening at the same time. Whichever team wins more duels, that team wins the match. And each duel is a best of 3, and each game within a duel is expected to last about 40 minutes. So we expect the match to last around 2 hours. If it doesn't last as long, maybe we take a little break or something, or maybe we don't. We can always do something else. Alrighty, I'm gonna head over to Bogdan's page and just keep refreshing it until the game. Huh. Interestingly, so Stephen Chang says that his team members are suffering from COVID. I'm not sure how badly that is, but hopefully they're not hospitalized and more or less all right. So are they actually playing with COVID, or was there an urgent replacement? Well, we'll see that. But that would be a shame. That would be a real shame to lose a match on a technicality like this, because remember, the rules for this year are actually much tougher. Like if you don't show up to the match, then you lose the duel, no matter what. You know, even if your house is on fire, even if you're sick. So yeah, so I hope things will be more or less okay still, but we're yet to see. And then I've got to remind you another thing is that if you predict who wins the World Championship, and if you're better at predicting than others, I'm giving away this 20-year edition physical Carcassonne set with the Abbot expansion and a couple of extra tiles. It's a really nice design. So in order to participate in the draw, you gotta comment either on this stream or on any of my other videos mentioning which team you think is going to win the championship, not just this match, but the championship overall, and which team is going to take second, third, and fourth place. You can do it anytime starting from now and until June 19, and you will also be able to change your prediction until June 19 if you want. So keep those predictions coming. And of course, I hope before we start the actual match, gotta remind you to meeple that like button and to subscribe to this channel if you intend on watching these streams more than once, because it does make a difference for the algorithm and makes me exhibit positive emotion. Alrighty, so we already see a most fortunate beginning for Bogdan over here with the red meeples, because green is forced to continue Bogdan's road. And this is one of the many reasons, by the way, why I think it is a good idea to meeple a road from the start, because I know some players just like to take this curve and sort of put this down, but you got to be ambitious from the start. You got to start in the opening of the game. You got to start taking points. And now it looks like it's going to be an interesting game, and you know why? Because already on move 5. Ah, interesting. Okay. There was something to think about. Normally, like for the first 10 moves, all moves are quite natural and automatic, especially for experienced players. But with this tile over here that Bogdan chose to place next to his monastery, just to grab that extra monastery point, there were at least 2 or 3 other possible legit options. So now, difficult decision here for Bogdan. So he, at the moment, has a bit of an advantage, well, actually a lot of advantage in points with these 2 monasteries. However, this point over here is quite sensitive, and it could be blocked, which is why Bogdan wanted to prevent that and made sure that at least this red meeple is not the only one who's getting blocked. And also the point is, for Bogdan's move, is that there are still 3 tiles that fit in this hole. Whereas, have a look at this one over here, and have a look at this one over here, the city cap with a straight line. So there's only 2 of those left. And there was a danger that green would finish a city with a simple city cap and leave red hoping for this tile, which there are only two in the deck. Well, red keeps getting the advantage, and now, okay, the first misstep from red, I think. So yeah, the way you normally want to do that is, of course, not. I mean, actually, I'm not sure about this, but I think whenever your monastery meeple, whenever your city meeple is controlled by a monastery meeple of your opponent, so you see this shared point. Bogdan now added 1 point to his city and 1 point to the opponent's monastery. This is of course necessary to complete the city eventually for red. But I normally prefer doing, if I need to place a tile giving my opponents points in order to complete my own feature, I prefer to doing that at the very, very end. Now we're likely to see a farmer. So, and then still Bogdan hoping for this connector tile over here. It's not clear who has the advantage because the critical points have not yet been resolved. So what's going to happen over here? Now, depending on what Bogdan draws, not the best tile for Bogdan, and so he is just forced to continue his city, and it looks like the block will be completed by Minwei Chen. And green, now after the opening battle has been complete, despite the two beautiful monasteries that red drew, green will have a sizable advantage. First of all, green has 8 points more on the scoreboard. There's this sensitive point over here. Bogdan, as you see, now prevented this city ruin from growing. So green will be stuck here with 4 points. As we see now, Bogdan engaged in a field battle, which is likely to favor the side with more meeples, in this case green. Fortunately for red, he manages to save his city, sort of, kind of. There's still 2 tiles that fit in this hole. However, if, let's say, red gets one of these tiles, yes, put it over here. Exactly what I was talking about. You know why? You know why red didn't take 3 points over here? Because red is preparing to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points for this road once he gets this tile. And there's about a 75% chance of that happening. And believe it or not, this is a bit of an unfortunate tile for red, because there are not too many good monastery spots. I think when you're this far behind, you have to meeple it. Because I don't think you can just afford to make any moves that don't give you value. So I would probably just meeple it over here, I guess, or over here even. Yep, exactly. But the reason why I'm saying this tile is a bit unfortunate is because you really want something to fit over here to throw in a second field meeple so that you can win this field outright. So this is one of those rare situations where the side with fewer meeples has actually a shot at winning the field outright, because the field is closed and has very few connection points. So for example, it has 1 connection point over here and 1 connection point over here. If, let's say, red manages to block 1 connection point from here, and now we're going to see a farmer. Yeah. So I was about to say that. I'm not sure, because this stuff now seems quite dangerous. So of course red will almost automatically put a straight line over here. But there's still 2 tiles that complete the city for green immediately. And there are also 3 tiles that extend the city. Yeah, so it seems to me that Reds might have gotten themselves a little bit tilted, and so they're trying to play extra fast. Like, I mean, these are definitely decent moves, blocking all this stuff. But you see how many tiles all of that required. And it seems that you would need to have some sort of calculation to support this. Actually, that's quite a nice move here by. Ooh, I didn't know about. Ah, interesting. Again, I mean, I think it was a good move, but it could have been a bit too fast. That's an unfortunate development for red because green managed to block off another connection point. And now red is facing a dilemma, really. Do you connect this meeple to the big field and try to find it and try to find a connection sometime later? Or do you just save these 6 points and try to seek an alternative win condition? Now it seems to me that it will be extremely hard for red to win this game without the field. However, let us calculate the number of blocked points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 9 for red. So this equals this, actually. So both opponents have the same number of trap meeples. And this can still be retrieved. However, the main problem is the advantage on the scoreboard. And as you see, red went for the approach of creating a counter field. But green just keeps scoring more quick points and so on. Now, if you going for the approach of so the red is definitely wants to block himself from the field. And actually, if you were green, I might even help him do that. So what red is hoping to do is say, okay, so I have this meeple for 6 points. I have this meeple for 6 points, and these 2 meeples for 12 points are just as good as 1, 2, 3, 4. Your two meeples for 12 points. That's most interesting. Check this out. So it's such a nice symmetry. Green has 1, 2, 3, 4 cities in these fields. These 4 cities give him 12 points. And yeah, another 2 quick points for Minwei. So red found a way to equalize the farm without joining the farm. So instead he just took these 2 meeples. The only downside with that is that red's how to say that doesn't have as much potential for these fields as green, because green still has a shot of expanding his field a little bit. For example, there is 1 tile remaining like this, a city cap with a right curve, and so if you put that over here, then you get 7 points immediately. Hi Sergio, hi everyone. So Bogdan's plan didn't work. This move that green just did got green 9 points because it took away 6 points from red and added 3 points to green. Well, now another problem what this does is that this makes this move like a bit of a waste, because probably I might have kept this flexible. If I were red, I would have probably meepled the monastery over here instead, trying to add a couple of straight lines and get that monastery back, get another 6 point monastery. Because we gotta remember that there are not many places to score points over here. Okay, there are a couple of ruins. Maybe there's a chance to connect this and like get 7 or 8 points. There are not many crossroads remaining. Yeah, again, I think it's Bogdan is kind of making, well, very tough decisions over here. But let's say if I had this one, I might have just tried to score a quick 8 points over here, because what's going to happen is that green's going to take this city. It's also possible that red with this move might be setting up a field connection. Let us check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yes, there are 2 curves remaining. And let's say if red gets a bit of something something over here. Yeah, that was talking about. Imagine already red would have had a 5-point city ready to finish over there. That would be something. Yeah, red take. It seems to me that red is now taking the approach of just simply taking as many points as possible rather than trying to find an outside chances to win. But you really got to try and find a win over here. Well, I see one. Okay, actually I see a strategy. It's not going to win, but at least it's going to help red equalize on the field. No, not that one. You take 2 points over here, and you create a connection from the outside. I mean, none of that would have worked, but it's still something you have to attempt. So now, given the fact there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so there's still 1 curve remaining. Oh, the lovely move. Lovely move. So red actually will, in most likelihood, manage to connect. But the disadvantage gained from the initial blocked meeple looked insurmountable. Actually, green could have placed the meeple over there. Well, I guess that was not necessary to win. Well, let's see. The difference is actually, the point difference is not going to be that great. I think it's going to be like +9 for green, or but it is possible that I'm over. Okay, +17. Yeah, I think I forgot about this ruin over here. Well, that was a very fast game, unexpectedly. So I'm not even sure what to watch next. This will certainly be an interesting match, as well as the Romanian player tries to take his revenge. But I think let's actually check if the no, not that, Steven. Let's actually check on other Steven Chang. How does that work? Taiwan. So Arpad Gere just won a narrow game from Steven Chang. Okay, at least Steven Chang is playing. And we might have a look at their second game. I think that would be a good idea. Then what's happening in the other duels? Erwin, of course, already finished his game. I had no doubt about that. It looks like it's going to be a very short match. We might need to take a break before the next one. I'm really Not exactly. Why do you guys all play so fast? I thought it was supposed to be an important match. Anyway, let's check on Andrash over here. And here the Romanian player won. And we're missing one of them. Oh yes, of course. Marian is still playing his first game apparently. Well, it has 6 tiles until the end. We might just see a bit of what's happening and then move on to maybe even the second game of these two players. That's what makes most sense to me. Just so that we get another game from start to finish. A bit difficult to make sense of this position, but it looks like Marian is having, in his style, a field controlled with 3 meeples. That's exactly what you might expect. However, the problem is that this field is only worth, well, I was going to say 12, but now 15 points. Will this be enough to counter this huge ruin and another ruin? And especially now that yellow drew the essential tile that of course he's going to place over there, and he has now another ruin and also another 6-point field. Could that have been decisive? Now probably Marian will need to count the remaining number of city caps and the remaining number of triangles. Of course, with this move, you might consider placing this over here and then having 2 connection spots to the city, trying to equalize this. Sounds like a useful thing to do because the city is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points. So, but apparently Marian figured there were no triangles, or maybe he didn't need them. So instead, Marian's building up this ruin to take it at the end. What a move! Wow. You check this out. What a move from yellow. But of course, Marian over here managed to connect yellow's meeple to the big field and thus ate up this meeple, because red had 3 meeples over here, but all this big field, it's all connected. Red has only one meeple over here. It seems to me that red should have it, but we have to check. Yeah, red's having it by a lot. The last move was worth plus 12 points, and even without the 12 points, red had already enough. So it seems to me that Romania is mostly having the upper hands, except for okay, it's on top of the website. How do you? Well, yeah, I do that actually. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's better. Thank you, Edges. Actually, this is much better. Right. I guess we just have to continue with Marian, because I said we'd look at Marian's game, and also because they're just starting, and red with an early advantage. Basically having this spare 4 points for the monastery, but that's what expected. You know, starting in Carcassonne is pretty much the same as starting in chess. So you expect a bit of an advantage from the start. I'm surprised actually by this move. Normally, I place this tile a little bit to the right, so that it's harder to attack. Now Marian adding 1 point of his monastery and also setting up a block over here, which he might start now, I guess, just not with this tile. So what I expect Marian to do is exactly this, starting a new city in a safe position. It looks like the opening battle is not over. Yeah, this is, by the way, one of the exceptions to the rule I was stating earlier, that you want to have 2 cities open, because there was no other good location to start a new city. Well, now there is. Probably what Marian's going to do is maybe start a new city. Actually, that's a good question. They might just start a new city in a safe location, but I like also the move attacking from the right, because it forces your opponent to react. For example, now let's see, will yellow put the city cap over here? So yellow instead goes for the block. Marian, of course, is absolutely happy to take 1 point for his monastery, and the good question is, will he meeple the road? You might, yeah, exactly. So there's still 8 of those remaining, and you would have to get unlucky to the extreme in order to not get any of these 8 tiles. Something that I don't think I've ever witnessed in my life. Hi Melvin. Oh, actually, now that we have more viewers, it seems to me that the Western Hemisphere is waking up. Gotta remind you to meeple that like button for the stream. It does help the algorithm and causes positive emotions. And to subscribe to this channel if you intend on watching the streams more than once. Now Marian, of course, will save his monastery. I can't expect anything else. Of course, he could finish the road, but I think this seems to be more important. Oh, I'm surprised, actually. And meepling a 3-point field just in the style of just a classic Marian over here. Well, now I expect him to save his monastery, because there's still 2 monasteries remaining. This move over here, it's, to me, that's a bit risky, actually, because this field might end up not being sufficient. On the other hand, I think this meeple has an insurance purpose, because even though this field is only 3 points, it has a bunch of green squares, and red wants to complete his monasteries, and a lot of tiles that complete his monasteries are city tiles, like these guys. They're also all 5 dividers in the game. Again, I just keep getting surprised and surprised. Well, now I guess Marian will. Actually, I'm not gonna. Actually, you know what? Instead of completing his monastery, you know which move I absolutely love? You take this curve, and then you place it over here, and you start a 6-point road, and you leave an empty spot for one of the monasteries. And then also when this connects over here, then the field expands drastically, because it will also include this hole over here. Well, Marian is not into big plans, chose to play it safer, maybe wiser. Again, but also placing his meeple in a somewhat vulnerable position. Well, perfect tile for Marian. Actually, so many things that you could do. I like finishing this road and then attacking the city ruin, because there's still many city tiles left. You can develop the city ruin in something that's worth maybe 12 points, so it's definitely could counter the monasteries. Even though red is ahead on the scoreboard, the advantage is not that big at all, because these monasteries they're about to complete it, they're both in super safe locations. But of course, Marian must be considering 2 other things. He must be considering just finishing his city. He must be considering starting a new city over here and blocking this city over here. He could be considering even meepling this road. So that's one of the few disadvantages. And yeah, as I said, Marian chose this move instead. Now I expect yellow to immediately drop a city over here. The only thing is that you normally do this stuff without a meeple, actually. Precisely because of this. Now, Marian can sort of get away with not meepling the city cap because he knows that his opponent doesn't have any meeples. Now again, so many options for Marian over here. You could make a case for blocking this city, just to make sure that yellow stays without cities for as long as possible. But you could also make a case for claiming this road. You could also make a case for finishing this 4-point road. And it looks to me, yeah, precisely because of that. Well, there's still tiles that fit here. It's just a bit unfortunate for Marian that he's not going to get the juicy 5 points for this road. But still very useful tile. A variety of things that you can do. One of those, yeah, this is my favorite one. You can actually try and attempt to block over here. Oh, then I definitely expect yellow over here to block Marian's meeple. It won't be blocking, it will be committing him to a triple crossroads with a city cap. But there's only 2 of those remaining, so it will take some time for Marian to draw those. There will be a 25% chance that he will not draw those ever, in which case this 2-point meeple will look a bit silly. And also it will force Marian to spend a valuable city cap on retrieving his meeple instead of taking 4 city points. So that is the main value of these partial blocks, is that it's not that they trap your meeple, it's just they force you to use valuable tiles to retrieve your meeple. I'm surprised, actually, a lot. Oh, here we see Marian nicely helping his opponent. I'm normally not a fan of these moves precisely because that can happen, but then when they work out, the opponent can feel really helpless. Instead, I would have preferred to try and block this meeple over here. All right, perfect tile for Marian. We'll think whether to meeple this road, probably not necessary at the moment. And now this field over here becomes sort of kind of justified. Another interesting situation. Will Marian block? Will he block over here? Oh, actually, I think he should block over here. Yeah, it seems to me like a must move. He could also consider using his meeple advantage and to claim another field, and that's exactly what he does. I thought he'd claim this one, but instead he claimed this one. And the plan, I think, is to use one of the two remaining city cap tiles that fit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is also one of this, to make sure that you score twice for this field and for this field. Also, it seems to me that Reds is making quite a few hasty decisions. Because like moves like these, they're good, but they require a lot of calculation. And given that you're ahead, I also thought that blocking this meeple is such a priority, because it's just so silly with this 1 point only over here. And then now, yellow will probably place a tile over here, like he absolutely has to, and he might even meeple the road, and then it will be much harder for red to continue, because the problem for red is that there's still 1, 2, 3, well, there's still two simple triangles, and then there's one of those, So there will be a way for red to build around this city safely. But instead, yellow prefers to save this meeple and then to take away field potential. Actually, I love this move from yellow. Well, now Marian does complete the block. What a fantastic move. What a sequence. And now, yeah, I kind of start liking what the Taiwanese player is doing. I mean, there were a couple of moments which I thought were a bit iffy, but this sequence I found quite powerful. Inexplicable why they wouldn't take 4 points. I mean, I can understand that they want to finish this city, but you're sacrificing 7 points for that. And here's why it's 7. Because so you take 1 point for yourself, but you don't take 4 points and you give 4 points to your opponent. And the thing, like 7 points is a huge number. It's basically the difference between an incomplete and complete city anyway. And this city has no guarantees of being completed. So well, yeah, Marian finally getting his meeple back. Still advantage on the scoreboard. This field is justified. And then Marian's probably very, very, very much hoping for the remaining divider to score some points over here. However, if you get a divider right now, it's actually quite hard to play because, well, if you place it over here, you might accidentally help your opponent complete this city, which you do not want to do. Yeah, so this is a decent move, actually. So yellow wants to restrict the potential of this field. An alternative was to restrict the potential of Marian's field. Maybe I would have preferred placing it over here. Yellow is trying very hard to save his what is going to become an 8-point city. It seems to me that Marian will block. He could take another field over here. And there it is. I haven't counted the points yet, but it looks like this field meeple is feeling a bit sad now. Also quite hard for Marian to make a productive move over here. Yeah, I guess meepling this field makes sense, just so that your opponent doesn't do it. Now yellow needs to really decide. Is he gonna try or is he gonna not try complete a city? And he said that he will try complete a city. So here's the thing that you gotta decide, right? If you add this tile to your city, then you add 2 points, but you make it harder to complete. If you don't add this tile to your city, well, you make it still possible to complete, but it's now much harder. No, but you don't get the 2 points. And so regardless what you do with this tile, it's always a gamble. But at least both opponents exchanged with valueless moves. And this always favors the side that is ahead. And this side is Marian. Okay, in the meantime, let me just check if you're asking anything. Oh, you're not. That's a bit surprising, but sure. So let's just try and calculate the points. So, Minwei Chen saying that the game is over. I assume the game is over against game over. It looks like we have our big point for Taiwan because I can't imagine them to have played 3 games. That's the most interesting move. So of course he's now gonna place a meeple on the road. The problem with that is that it expands the field by so much. Marian is extremely grateful for this tile over here because he will finish his city and drop a field city cap without a meeple, and if he gets the city cap then it will give him 7 points. So with this move, yellow was basically declaring a coin flip for this tile. So, does yellow has a path to victory? And I think yellow does have a win condition. It's just extremely thin. In order to win, yellow gotta complete this city. And there's exactly, well, yellow would need this tile in order to do that. So yellow needs the only remaining triple city and 2 triangles. Another thing that yellow might consider doing is somehow joining this field from the outside. And again, by the way, this city, remarkably, still theoretically possible to complete. I mean, the probability for that is extremely low because it requires back-to-back draws of triangle, city splitter, and oh, never mind, it doesn't work because the triple city is not a triple city, it's a quadruple city. And yeah, there was still, yeah, it was just impossible, I think. So yellow probably needs to calculate the tiles really hard. Oh, I like that. That's brilliant. But check this out. Yeah, I forgot about this sequence. Of course, you can finish the city without... So it seemed to me that yellow does have about like... At this stage of the game, it's not 25, it's much less. Around 10% chance. And then you place this over here, you take a 5-point city. Take a 5-point city. Take a 5-point city. I'm rooting for yellow just because I want the game to be a bit closer. But as we see, Marian now came up with a move for insurance, making sure that he stays with this 12-point field. And if Marian draws the divider, I think he wins regardless because he can just put it over here, gain 10 points, well 9 technically, so 4 points for the city, -1 for opponent's city, then 3 for this field, 3 for this field. And then even if this city gets completed, all these field meeples, just how Marian likes them, will do the job. Okay, maybe I was now a little bit lazy in calculating the city caps, but it seems to me that there's one left, right? There's this guy. Oh, well, there's also the divider. So, what yellow may be thinking is that they somehow have to place this tile over here, and it may be correct. The problem with being forced to make such moves at the end of the game is that you still add points to your opponent and you don't grab points from yourself. So what might end up happening is one of two things. Either yellow manages to spend his meeple on the 5 points over here, but then red completes his city and wins the game. Or yellow does place this tile over here, red does not complete his city, but yellow ends the game with unspent meeples and wins the game. By the way, let's just triple check that I know what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, yes, there are. There is one triangle remaining that fits over here, and there is one divider remaining that fits over here. So this city is still alive, and it will be worth one shielded triangle, by the way. No, unshielded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 18 points. Oh, but it doesn't mean anything. That's actually just beautiful what Marian did. So imagine you complete this city for 18 points, but then you give your opponent 3 points for this field, 3 points for this field, 3 points for this field. So there's almost no value in completing it, because now it's worth 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, so actually maybe the correct move for yellow was to just ditching this idea altogether. And this was a good move even when it was just to ruin. And they're just trying to win in some other ways. For example, maybe instead of this, take the 5 points, hope that your opponent doesn't get any city caps, and then complete a couple of cities. But that's still extremely thin. Again, a beautiful move from Marian. Make it impossible to for yellow to complete his city. I know what yellow has to do. Like, the only way to score a lot of points is to place the divider over here and meeple the field. And then on your last move, hope for this guy over here. No, not like that. Well, yeah, so yellow had to hope for this. Do you get the idea? So that if yellow could have meepled the field, that's 3 points. And then complete on his next move this 8-point city over here. So that's 8 plus 3 another for the field. So that's 14 points. So yellow had a way of hoping and trying to gain 14 points in his last 2 moves. Because, like, unless I'm miscalculating something horribly here, red has a massive lead, which needs to be overcome. Okay, well, red has 9 points over here and 12. It seems to me that towards the end of the game, Marian managed to understand very well what his win condition is, and then just follow that. And so even some moves that look a bit unusual, those are done only to maximize the win probability, and I think just keep it at 100%. Oh, by the way, in the meantime, I should change the score, because we know for sure that Taiwan has 1 big point. As the Romanian captain quickly lost their game. You know, I think it might last a while. Is there a shame in us watching other games? Probably not that much. No, okay, let's stay here. Let's stay here. I mean, it's 0 tiles remaining, right? So what can yellow do? I guess score some 3 points. Really, that's all that's possible. But I really think yellow had to flip over here. Yellow had to hope that red would get this tile. Alrighty, let's see the result. Yeah, a convincing 9-point win for Marian over here. And was that their first game? No, that was their second game. And it looks like it's a big point for Romania. I hope that not all games. Oh, come on. Black screen, you say, yeah? Not now, right? What? What's that about? I think I know why. No, I don't. Yeah. So OBS sometimes does that. Thanks for pointing that out. Anyway, the black screen was only for a couple of minutes, I hope. Or maybe even a couple of moments. Let us double check if that's indeed a big point for Taiwan, if I remember. No, for Romania, and yes, it is in fact tied. Alrighty. So, give me a hand. What's happening in other games? I'm gonna try and see what's happening with Steven Chang. Well, they're at least still playing. Aha, so they're playing their decider. That's perfect. And that's already well underway. Which again is inexplicable to me because we've been streaming this for less than an hour, right? If I'm not mistaken. This looks like it's headed towards the Taiwanese player due to the 10-point advantage on the scoreboard, and then everything else is sort of roughly equal, or is it? Well, there's this 9-point field that black controls. If for those of you who are asking what the score is, apparently it's 1-1, one for China, one for Romania, and the others are still playing. And that's the most up-to-date info I have. And soon, it looks like it's going to be 2-1 for Taiwan. because I just can't see anything in the on the landscape that green could capitalize on. You know, maybe have to do something with a field somewhere. If you have a city tile, then you connect over here. Hard to say. But green is definitely right to take their time there. Probably needs to calculate whether the city needs to be blocked. That's, by the way, the main power of starting a city towards the end of the game in the lead, is that it's not so much you're going to complete the cities, that you force your opponent to try and block it. Was that 100% connection? Is that something that green overlooked? Because I overlooked that. I really did. I forgot that you could connect to the field from here. And it seems to me that maybe green could have done that. Well, now the question is, how many connections are there? Oh, so there were loads of connections. So I guess it seems to me that what green had to do is to just reconnect to the field, sort of drop a field meeple in compensation. Well, okay. It seems to me that green seems to have given up, basically. Of course, they're going to take this 6-point field, but all of that is controlled by black. So Stephen Chang, the Taiwanese master and team captain, took an important point for Taiwan. Now let's see if the match is still continuing. Are the others still playing? Because it's already 2-1 for Taiwan. Who else is playing? Okay. Seems to me that they're already over. Okay, so the remaining one over here. Tabato. So it's 2-2. And what was the final duel? What was the final duel? Yes. Ervin and Imlicit saying, oh, so actually we were watching a match which was a game which was the last one at all, and everybody else finished playing unbelievably fast, actually. And Romania won. Actually, it turned out to be a tight match, but a bit of anticlimactic now when we're fighting this post factum. So yeah, I'm gonna congratulate Romania, and I guess that's it. The next match is in about an hour. I'm not sure what we can do in between. Okay, let's vote. Who want? So we have three options. One is we take a break, and then we meet in an hour, start a new stream. Second option is we do an analysis of games of, let's say, Ervin Gull, who won what was at the time the actual decider between Romania and Taiwan. And the third option is I don't know. We can do some games with viewers. We probably have time to squeeze with two. So, looking for your suggestions. And it's just so surprising that this is probably the shortest match of this championship. Uh, yeah, I guess let's do one piece of analysis, because we haven't watched these two players. We haven't watched Andras. I think probably can analyze one game and then maybe take a break. But still open to all kinds of other suggestions. Aha, so you saw that the board game arena here was in Hungarian. All right, I'm just wanna use my favorite script over here for analysis purposes only. Yeah, that's the only flaw, is that it doesn't understand discarded tiles. But we gotta remember that this city tile is no longer over there. So we're now looking at the first game between the players with screen name People86. Okay, so now I understand how how Yellow lost this game, because like making a move like this and not placing a meeple is well, how would I say? Let me try just keep very open-minded. I disagree with this move quite strongly, in the sense that it mathematically doesn't work out. Like, if you make a move like this, you give your opponent 3, 6, 9 tiles that give him 7 points immediately, and then also 7 more tiles that give them 4 points immediately. Like, why would you ever do that? Of course, you place it like this, but you place a meeple over there. Yeah, again, same stuff. Want to block? Great, but there's still 3 tiles remaining. Like, you do that with a meeple basically, and even if that ends up working out, it's just so much resources invested, and it happens so rarely that this gets blocked that I don't know. I usually like playing against the players who try and block me at all costs. And you see, as a result, now, even if Red loses this meeple somehow, he will just have so many more points. Standard move so far. Oh, okay, so Andras also likes block, but this is actually interesting. So it both sets up a blocking attack, but also protects this square a little bit, so it makes it much harder to attack the city on top. In a situation like this, I probably like taking Ring Road best. There's one way to play against opponents who block lots, is just to triple down on value, as long as you take them in relatively safe spots. Starting a Ring Road is a safe spot, and then just survive with 2 or 3 blocked meeples. Oh, that's so very nice when your opponent helps you. Like the yellow nicely continuing red city. And the reason why I find this so helpful is that because this blocking square is blocked, and so imagine if I get one of these tiles, then I can just nicely. So if I were red now, I wouldn't place this tile over here. No, instead I would place it over. No, I actually would. Yeah, I would go over here, and then just simply wait until I get blocked and still preserve the equity of completing this stuff. Like, it's very annoying when you have a city like this. Also, you know, if it gets blocked, it's quite easy to turn into a ruin. It's already 5 points. Yeah, this move I'm not such a fan of. I mean, it's okay, but it creates an attacking point for this for this city, and these 5 points become extra vulnerable. Because it's also another thing. Now you have a dilemma, right? You have such a valuable city cap. Probably now you have to put it over here, but then you really, really want to clean off this part. Let's see what red does. Yeah, but you want to create that threat, right? Oh, you see how it turned out. I always like when my opponents build features for me. Okay. That's probably that's quite a risky piece of city, but sure. Will we see a field meeple? No, and red now dropping a field meeple, and I'm just curious to find out how exactly did yellow manage to make it so close, because this game. Well, maybe that's how. Maybe this gets blocked. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so this automatically goes over here. Oh yeah, that's also decent. You wanna save, but that's also always an interesting decision. Like you have to look at the overall situation and think. So if you have a vulnerable meeple, and if your opponent has a vulnerable meeple, which one do you do first? Do you save yours, or do you attack your opponent's? Probably in this situation, I like saving this meeple, because there's still plenty of tiles that fit over there, and with this move you get a good use from triangles. Of course, now a straight line automatically goes over here, possibly with a field meeple actually. Sure, that's dual, but here's the thing, like I don't want to give my opponent extenders. This tile, the triangles, there's just so many things that could possibly happen. So I do like dropping this field meeple over here, even without a field meeple, just to take a lot of tiles of opponents away. So even though much more often I go for value than blocking, I'm always a fan of blocking when it can be done effectively. And in that case, you can just sacrifice one potential point to, you know, really take a lot of tiles away from your opponent. Moreover, I like this with a field meeple because, first of all, this field connection would still be alive because you still have two of these guys left. And then as soon as yellow completes the city, you get a nice 6-point field over here. And now you have to do the same thing, but a bit inorganically. So probably place it over here and you start chasing. And you just start chasing yellow city. And the yellow completes it anyway. So probably if I were red at this point, I would say, okay, you know, you continue your city, I continue mine, and then you take over here, and then you meeple the road. Maybe same move, but without a meeple, but really this. Yes. Alrighty. So they know what they're doing now. Perfect tile for red because they get to place it over here, start a new city. And also, more importantly, what this does is that this creates value for these future tiles. Now you actually have a productive place to deploy them. And usually these are quite hard to play. You can use them as blocking tiles sometimes, but it's you really want to make sure that you can use every future tile productively. And also what will happen is that when red completes this city, this will be a nice 9-point field over here, so red can drop a field meeple. I like that. Now, interesting decision. Do you take 7 points over here? Do you stop to continue your city? Or do you, something that I like a lot, yellow could actually start attacking this city. But sure, I mean, 7 points are rarely a mistake. But see what I was talking earlier? Imagine this straight line being over here. Now red would be not so keen on taking these points. And if red, oh no, that's actually, I've picked the worst time to start doing all my colorblind lexicon, because this game has an actual red and has an actual yellow, Taiwanese, people 66. So had we placed a field meeple over here, then yellow would be faced with a tough decision. Alright, see, that's a nice attack with a road. And this is the stuff that I was talking about. Red now finally gets this tile. Yes, actual red. And well deserved, because there was a 88% chance of that happening anyway. Because you can't just make a partial block and then hope that nothing will happen. Like, either you have to spend the resources and finish it, or, you know, not do that in the first place. So, and the thing is, like, it doesn't matter how long red waited, because we didn't see a situation where red was a meeple shortage. So here's what happened in this situation. Yellow spent a 7-point monastery for nothing, while also having more than enough meeples. Yellow also gave, well, basically this piece to red with no conditions. So it's I love how very often when you look at the Carcassonne games, something that you do 20 moves ago comes back to bite you 20 moves later. Oh, what a perfect situation for reds. I guess they're gonna complete the roads. They might think about a farmer, actually. No, that's probably a bit too early. But basically what you want to do, you want to, you know, complete the city, maybe complete this road, and then drop a farmer. It's going to be a nice 6-point field over there. Yeah, that's is quite fantastic. And there's nothing that red can do, so we're just going to end up taking 2 points. And the thing is, I like taking 2 points over here instead, just so that there are no options for 4-point cities over here. But sure, that's doable. So interesting. So do we take the field here? Or do we expand the field here? That's not obvious at all, actually. I like this field. Do we attack the city? I guess I like this move a lot, because then yellow completes the monastery and then you join automatically. Also, there are few options to reconnect. You still have a huge number of tiles that go here and claim this 9-point field. So actually, I would want to leave everything here unconnected so that I get to claim the 9-point field as I complete this. All right. So maybe we're thinking alike with Andras over here. Okay, not a fan of this use of a city cap. Doesn't seem to accomplish that much. Instead, I prefer just grabbing the city, or maybe continuing your road and meepling a new one. Yeah, same stuff over here. I wouldn't be like, just it doesn't matter. Unifying this field is not in the interest of red, because if you think about it, you're scoring for all these cities multiple times anyway. So if you get to share this, and then you have your own fields over here, it's more than enough for a victory for red. So instead of this move that just gives yellow extra value, I would have probably taken a city over here, and then I would have already had an 8-point city. Again, not sure why not to take the 4 points. Actually, yeah, not like... Oh, I see. So red is trying to connect from the outside, but this all comes for the idea of that combining all these fields doesn't matter that much, because there's still going to be a connection point up top. There's also another one, and it just seems that so many valuable tiles maybe invested not in the most ambitious way. Well, with this monastery, I guess we don't have much to do. We can just grab 2 points. Or that. Well. Does it come with the fields? Of course it does. Interesting. So yellow didn't connect over here. Well, I assume there's still 3 tiles left to do, so that's quite understandable. And yellow still did not connect. That is quite risky. Because now this point becomes blockable. But I guess maybe yellow calculated that they needed this real bad. Also, now red will end up with an overproduction of meeples. Because you see, you could have, had this all been a separate field, you could have dropped a 9-point field over here. And you would have an extra 9 points. But all these maneuvers over here just seem to me a little bit unnecessary. Well, finally, yellow manages to connect with the least valuable tile, which is exactly how you want to do it. But in the final moments, red will manage to take 1 more city points, and this is what yellow must be regretting now. What yellow could have done is, with this straight line over here, protected his city, because there were still 2 city caps that fit in over here, and then yellow could have actually taken and completed his city now. But now it's not possible. Yellow would have to settle for a 6-point field over here. And it looks like it's not going to be enough. So it seems to me that, yeah, it's quite an instructive game. Is what happened is yellow ended up just spending some valuable tiles sort of trying to block, and then a couple of places where you're sort of trying to block, but then you just end up helping your opponent because you add points to your opponent's features. And as a result, this 4-point difference was enough for red to win. Yeah, 4-point different over here. Well, fascinating. Alrighty, I guess let's have a look at another game, and we probably might consider an actual break. So we didn't look at Erwin's game. We didn't look at Steven. Well, we did look a bit of Steven Chang's game. No, not that Erwin. So how did they win? Because Melissa Tseng is really strong. I mean, I would expect them to be the favorite actually, but 100 versus 69. I'm not sure if that's even an interesting enough game to watch, but it's, I guess it's just something that must involve a lot of luck. Normally, by the way, okay, here I am revealing secrets again. When we do Carcassonne practice, we analyze games. Typically, we don't look at games with big point differences because those typically involve a lot of skewed variance. Another word for luck, basically. But as you remember from my previous streams, I don't like calling luck. I like calling it variance. Let's look at it anyway. Let's make an exception. And maybe if Erwin was lucky over here, we'll try to look up opportunities how Lisa could have maybe turned this around. I was also thinking that board game arena seems to be like not care about people's privacy, because you get to, well, first of all, you get to know which language they're using, and then you also get to know which styles they're using. Because for example, you saw Hungarian for Andras, and you saw now Romanian for Erwin over here. I actually have a lot of issues with that, with board game arena revealing too much. We're being spied on. Interesting. Well, the beginning actually looks pretty good for. Without a meeple. Oh, okay. Nah, you meeple that in the opening. Oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay, that's where it's starting. So I think. Oh yeah, never mind, never mind. I thought there was like a forced move or something, but it wasn't. So far the moves are pretty standard, and both players are taking conservative approaches with with red drawing a bit more quick points over here, but this city should cover it. Okay, shall we see another monastery without a meeple? I hope not. Finally. Long overdue, but imagine if these two guys were together. Because the thing, monasteries work great in pairs. Do I like Erwin's first move? Meepling, taking 2 points instead of this taking the city cap. I do actually, yes, this is what I would do as well. Just so the narrative is there. So the question was, remember this move over here? That was Erwin's first move, I think, and they just scored 2 points. And the idea is this: that the value of a city cap, while assuming that you're going to complete a 4-point city, is 2 points, but you got to invest a meeple on it. But if you score 2 points immediately, it's also the same 2 points, but risk free. So I would do the same. Yeah, I mean there is some risk of your opponent taking this, but you gotta just live with it basically. And also the other problem is if you meeple the city cap on your first move, then you also leave a piece of road lying around, a nice 3-point road, which your opponent will take. So you're leaving something for your opponent either way. Oh, good point, Elias. Sometimes games with a big point difference implies that there was a huge field or a huge city. Well, I can't see any fields really, although that's because not many city caps have been drawn, so we might expect those a little bit later. Huge city. Well, we see a potential for a huge city. Yeah, by the way, now I can see where this is happening. So, why Lisa's not taking a 4-point road over here? Why take a move that doesn't really do much? You tell me. Because you see, now there are 3 points left for Erwin to play, but had Lisa taken these 4 points, she would already have had a ring road and possibly a started city. Because yeah, it seems that Erwin can just take quick points and yeah, for example, this move. I mean, it doesn't do much. Yeah, it blocks off this city cap sort of kind of, it reduces variance, but what does that exactly do, especially when you're behind? I would have just started really a simple road facing over here. Sometimes really simplest is just best. And we can see slowly but surely, because what's happening is that red is adding 1 point, even if it's just 1 point every move. But typically black is adding mostly 0 points. Okay, so now comes the big city theme. Now I have a feeling that red will get a third meeple there. Yep. Or not yet. Yeah, and you see this piece of road will be scooped up by red, and red will not need to finish it because just one more curve, and oh, I forgot the most important parts. The remaining tiles, which will tell us that there are not so many curves left, but that's 3, that's great. So you put that over here, or even better, these 3. So you put that over here, you make it harder to complete the city, so it's just perfect. And now, very hard to play for Lisa over here. Maybe just something like this. Yeah, it's good. Use shields for your own stuff. Again, I mean, it's fine, but it's still a move that does 0 things. Well, I guess the good, because it's also not possible to block off completely. I would, of course, always continue my road over here, because see, there's 6 straight lines. What can happen is that I get a curve, and as soon as I get another curve, I curve it inwards, and I get to complete this beauty over here. And also the thing is, like, when you're so much behind, you really can't afford to spend time on blocking unless the blocks are 100% and they're such that they significantly impair your opponent. Again, also like a move that barely did anything, but sure. Probably red getting some nice, more or less lucky draws, but nothing of extraordinary. Again, also, by the way, this stuff, when you have a city next to your opponent's monastery like this, you just leave it alone until you get a city cap, because you're making it more vulnerable. And also, okay, so you add 2 points to your city potentially, but actually you're adding only 1 point because you're adding 1 point to your opponent, and you also make it more vulnerable. So you made your city more vulnerable for gaining 1 potential point. That's not a really good trade-off. So you want to do with this, what you want to do with this tile is just take this city over here. I'm actually quite surprised. I don't know, maybe they were. Oh well, actually maybe I shouldn't be that critical, because Stephen Chang wrote me that 2 of Taiwanese players are having COVID. Maybe Lisa is one of them. Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit unfortunate. So also recently we played against the UK, and Egita, our new player with the screen name Apple G, ended up playing against the strongest player from the UK whilst having a flu. So that was like a very hard, very tough initiation into the team, that you get hardest opponent, flu, and it's your first match. Well, luckily we did win against the UK and preserved our chances of advancing. And as you see, so this move over here, it's just so many points were lost with that. So first of all, okay, so you lost your like 8 potential points over here. Well, not 8, but let's say 6, because you also count on adding a city cap, and then you add to your opponent. Then you made sure that red had value from the city cap, and then you didn't clean off this city cap as well, so red was now able to do it. So also another thing, blocking is great, but But again, where are you going to get the points? Interesting. Ah. Okay, no, so now I understand what happened. I think Edwin will just find something to go here. But it's great that he has a... Seems to have a win condition. Not a win condition, sorry. Basically, I guess like his win condition is just to keep things as they are. His win condition is to close opportunities. But he also has this 50% sure. In case any problems will be caused somewhere, he can just place a tile over here if he finds this and win like that. So probably instead of this move, what I like better is placing this guy over here, just to make sure that your opponent doesn't draw something like this and then re-attack this city. And then also this spot over here is not that easy to block. So imagine, like, in order to block here, black would actually have to use a city cap. And there's not many of those left. There's really 1, 2. And black needs city caps elsewhere, hard. So for example, imagine that black draws the divider. What do you do with that? Anyway, so imagine that this thing is not here. Just this thing is not here. Black draws the divider. Black has a dilemma. Do you put over here and separate, or do you block? So the thing where I'm maybe not a huge fan of this move is that because you reduce your connection chances, and you also don't induce your opponent to block anymore. Because actually you do want to induce your opponent to block. You do want to make sure that she draws this divider, and instead of separating you, completes the block. So it just happens that black now got the most unfortunate draw, but imagine that instead black got this connected to the city, and then black got this, and then that's it. You're left with 1 point over here. So up until this move, actually black still had a way back into this game. That again, like, it's just something not I understand. So this is sort of saving red's meeple because there's still one tile that goes over here. All right, okay, that's nice. Only black will manage to reconnect. That is in fact her win condition. Yeah, very zealous blocking, of course, and Erwin does get that tile. So it after all came down to this. So let's see how big the city ended up being and then calculate what would have been the score despite that. But this 50% equity, it was always there. Sort of black was fighting for the remaining 50% really. I think when you're far behind, what you want to do is that you want to set up the board in such a way that there is one super impactful tile. So imagine if your opponent needs this, then what you gotta make sure to do is that you need the same tile elsewhere, and that you're gonna get a lot of points for it if you do get it. Because then what happens, you actually turn the whole game into a big 50-50 coin flip. And maybe if you are some points behind, if this coin flip is significant enough, any points that you were behind before doesn't matter. Yeah, Elias saying that this Dorito might have been a misclick because the other orientation made more sense. Possibly, but actually I don't think so. I think this orientation was chosen by Lisa in order not to create another connection spot to the city. Well, which actually It didn't match in the end, right? Because there's still a connection spot, but yeah, that's just gorgeous. And the thing, this block, it didn't do anything. Everyone still has a tile to complete this beautiful road. Yeah. Okay, that's a good farmer actually. And Erwin, well, Erwin does get maybe even a bit lucky here, but it doesn't matter. By the way, see this the straight line. Actually, if I were Erwin, I don't know. No, that's actually a good idea. I like that strongly. Erwin might just take this road actually. I mean, what else to do? Well, I guess maybe wait for one of these guys. No, no. Of course he's correct. And now just take this. It might be tempting to just complete this city. Oh, that would be just so demoralizing. By the way, you always meeple this stuff. Like, you can't leave this to your opponent. At the end of the game, it doesn't matter. But even though it can be blocked, you meeple this just defensively so that your opponent cannot take it. And then you hope so that your opponent has something else, and then you complete the city and drop a field meeple. Okay. Yeah, it seems to me that's the remaining moves don't matter that much. And as I said at the start, as expected, it was a high variance game, so probably Black couldn't have done anything like realistically to save the game. But I guess what Black could have done is made sure that there's a greater chance of saving this game, maybe up to 50%. Because the thing is that Erwin would have won without connection as well, even with a shared city. Let's see how much this city was worth. It's gonna count that up eventually, but I forgot. I gotta scroll down. 29 points, and as you see, the difference is 31 points. So actually, even with a shared city, Red would still have won. Also, interesting that at the start of the game was very close, that both players got very few city caps. And both players got lots of road tiles. But maybe Red managed to deploy his road tiles a bit more productively, whether it just seemed that maybe Black wasn't sure exactly what they were doing. Oh, yes, so both up orientations created connection platform, Elias is saying, and that's correct, referring to this move over here. But this wasn't so much a connection platform because it's much easily to block. So when you're connecting to the city, and when you're thinking how vulnerable your city is, you don't want to create safe connection platforms, and that's when you have this piece over here and your opponent can connect with a piece like this and need a triangle. But when there's something one square away, such as this, it's always possible to block over here and to commit this square to a triple city, which of course Red ended up drawing anyway, but it wasn't guaranteed by no means. Alrighty, I think we analyzed two games, and we're going to congratulate Romania on their well-deserved victory. And actually, we're probably going to end up having a 10-minute break. I'm going to keep the stream live, but I'm going to just switch off the sound, I guess. I really did not expect them to finish that soon. That's just so weird. I'm a bit lost here. So I very much hope that okay, so it's U.S. against Germany. Well, that's also another problem because Germans are pretty fast as well. Maybe because they're so good. Oh, but China, they typically take their time. So actually, this is gonna work out quite nicely. So Germany USA is gonna finish maybe in an hour or an hour and a half, and then we'll get to watch the decider games from China Colombia in real time rather than analysis. So all is working great. All right. Um, yeah, I'm gonna see you in 10 minutes. Stay tuned. I wish good things to you who's watching this. In case you're just joining, I'm Alexey and we're about to stream the second Carcassonne group stage round 5 match of World Team Carcassonne Online Championships 2022. This stuff is so all long, like the name of the championship. I'm not quite sure in which order to say things. Also, some people call it the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship and some call it the World Team Online Carcassonne Championship, and there is actually a small difference in where you place the emphasis in this in these two terms. But anyway, I'm just explaining that because of this long name, there's so many things to mention. I'm never sure how to actually pronounce all that, but World Championship, clear. Team Carcassonne, clear. It's happening online. It's 2022. It's round 5 of the group stage, and USA is playing Germany. Romania just won Taiwan against 3-2 in a nail biter. We just probably picked some of the less heated battles. It's all happened very fast. And China is going to play Colombia a little bit later, but USA, Germany is our main focus. So let's look at those lineups, what the teams have prepared for each other. Well, Germany looks like the massive favorite on paper, really. So with the player with screen name Medusa Hope is, I think, very often underrated, definitely one of the strongest players so far. Also, Chris Perot, Meeple Wizard, is on the lineup, and I'm keen on watching them a little bit. Sebastian Weffel, I think. Also, that's such a nice last name for board games, because Werfel means dice, as far as I remember, in Germany. So even though Carcassonne doesn't have any dice, it does include some luck, or as I like to call it, variance. So the last name is just more than appropriate. Looks like it's going to be actually a couple of close battles, really. So I would expect for Germany to be the slight favorite, maybe on all the tables. No, actually, except 4 and 5. Because John Sheldal has been quite strong recently. Also, Alan Ropsky on table number 4. So I would the result expect to be 3-2 in somebody's favor, and I hope it certainly is. I hope that they're, slower, longer, tighter battles as far as possible between these two teams. All right, Sergio, good luck for China. Elias says he was already rooting for the United States. Just curious, by the way, how many South Americans do we have other than Elias watching right now? So I was wondering, like, do you have sort of a continental identity? Like, for example, if both foreign countries you're playing, or let's say if the same country is participating from your continent, but your country is not participating, are you more likely to root for the country from your continent, even if you've never been to that country? So let's say, which team is not participating in WTCOC? Guatemala, I think, actually is not participating. So yeah, so for example, would you root for Guatemala as well over Germany? Oh, I get it. So Latin America has a very strong connection with each other. Is it just Latin America, or like or both Americas? What do you think? Oh, Peru is also not here. I wonder why Peru is is also not this year, because they seem quite a few strong players. It is quite unfortunate that oops, I gotta remove the break thing. Yes, we are back already. Yeah, I mean, obviously for a variety of reasons, some European teams are not participating, and also I think that's something I haven't really addressed over here on stream because obviously Carcassonne streams are a form of entertainment, so probably I'm not gonna be talking about the war all the time, but I also don't want to pretend like it's not happening. So yeah, obviously several teams cannot participate because of the war. So Ukraine can't participate for obvious reasons, and then Poland is not participating in solidarity with Ukraine, and so is Belarus, I think. At least that were their reasoning. And in every team, and also for organizers, it was actually not easy to decide, first of all, whether to hold this championship at all. So for those of you who don't know, actually all the team captains were asked this, and they were asked this stance on the issue, and then the final decision was that uh, to basically behave in line with other sports competitions. And what the other mind sports and physical sports competition did is that they still hold their championship. I mean, um, they do not allow either Russia and Belarus, well, depending on the competition, to participate. But then, other than that, they just keep holding it. Well, and that's exactly what happened in Carcassonne as well. But I wonder. So my question is: so it's understandable why there are fewer European teams this year, and I also asked a few other captains that it seems to me that Italy is not participating for some other reasons which are not directly related to the war, at least. But I wonder why fewer teams from Latin America. Elias, do you know why Guatemala and Peru are not participating? Oh, interesting. You mentioning the Mexico and U.S. territorial disputes. So how do you feel about California? Right, just kidding. Well, actually, I think you have all the more reasons to root for the U.S. because two players are from California, and one of them even on the lineup. Yeah, Zach Bell is actually from Los Angeles. Anyway, a bit less of that stuff. Now we need to start talking a little bit more about Carcassonne. And you know what? I definitely want to watch Zach Bell and Medusa Hope. And also Chris Perut, Meeple Wizard against KB and a bunch of numbers. Actually, I should ask them what the numbers mean. Or maybe these are letters in Leet. Or KB could be the initials. I prefer names to screen names, which is why I like the approach of Carcassonne Brazil so much. They have just perfect first name, last name, or initial last name. It makes so much easier. So you say that Peru and Guatemala just didn't get organized on time. That also sounds legit as well. Anyway, we still have 25 teams in the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship edition all this year. More than enough for a tough competition, even though I do miss a lot like the teams of Poland and Ukraine. But there are other strong teams to watch as well. Unfortunately, because there's not 24 but 25 teams, one of the groups has 7 teams instead of 6, and my team Latvia happens to be in those groups, so we actually have the hardest group by far. And we've already had 4 strong opponents. We've played RCP, China, Brazil, and the UK, all 4 very Very, very tough matches. Why am I saying this? Oh, yes, I'm saying this because China Colombia is also the match from Group D, the Deaf Group. Uh-huh. So Elias is saying you've been trying to Costa Rica to convince to play. Yeah, that'll be very nice actually, because I think there are a few teams that have good players on board game arena. They just don't seem to organize into actual team to participate in the championship. One such team is Canada. Actually, I'm really not sure why Canada is not participating. So I was gonna hope to see that. And then some other teams who participate in the individual world championship in Essen, but do not participate in the team world championship. So I'm thinking of Finland, I'm thinking of Norway. But anyway, it will all take years and years, a couple of small steps at a time, and we're doing our small thing to popularize Carcassonne as a mind sport, and one is, watching this match with commentary. All right, let's go. So Zach Bell already started their game. Californian against the German, blue against black. I don't know if it's a coincidence at all, but both players have chosen the meeple colors that actually occur on their country's national flag as well. In the rematch, we will see which colors their opponent will choose. Is the German player using red or yellow or not? We have standard moves at the start, although we have the less common road pointed downwards rather than upwards, and black over here with a slight advantage perhaps, but it's too early to tell. Oh, so now comes a crucial decision. What do you do in this situation? So the point is that you could either want to build this as two small cities, or you can build this as one larger city. And here are the upsides. So blue chose to make a large city, and this is what I would probably have done. I would have done the same. The upside is that it's much harder to connect to the city because you can't really get in two meeples. So you can safely throw in quite valuable tiles like this, and any shielded tile will be worth 4 points once this is completed. However, the downside is that if this city gets blocked, then you lose two meeples. Ooh, and it's happening. The thing is happening. I mean, it wasn't a mistake, anything. I guess you had to do that. Although maybe blue could have considered this waiting a little bit, but no, you don't have to necessarily. There's still 4 tiles that fit here, and you can just keep building and building. Beautiful move here from black, securing this city. It's now very hard to block. There are still 4 tiles that fit in over here, and even if this city gets blocked, this blue meeple will get blocked as well. Black has the advantage over here in this mini battle, but the opening battle is not over because the fate of this city is unclear. So if blue manages to complete this city, then blue will have the advantage. If blue does not manage to complete the city, black will have the advantage. So we were talking about Canada earlier. I think some of the players have high elo. I've played with somebody who was almost 600 recently. So black secured his city to a 75% in the meantime. But again, it's all about this. It's actually hard to tell how black should approach this. Believe it or not, Not the worst move is placing this guy over here and connecting to the city, trying to create a second connection spot. Because the advantage you have from here, you can equalize, I think, quite easily. So if I were blue, I would now use this piece of city and snatch it off immediately. Doesn't matter that it's vulnerable. Okay, you can also do that. That's also a decent move. The thing what I don't like is that there are plenty of tiles for black that can give them the city immediately. And here's also another problem. So now the correct move, what you've set yourself up for, is you gotta take this tile. Well, actually there's two options. Let's see. Does blue take 3 points over here, or does blue build his rhombus city? I like the rhombus city, but what it's doing is at the same time protecting this, and this is exactly what I did not want to happen. So black now with a massive advantage. Because once this stuff is complete, then that's it. So sometimes you have to take features that look uncomfortable just so that your opponent doesn't take them. And this also explains why many strong players, especially at the start of the game, sometimes place their... I'm actually not strong player, but like master players, place their meeples in weird places. It's defensive placement. You just need to make sure that your opponent doesn't get it. So even if the feature is not that juicy for you, you have to take the risk of getting your meeple trapped, because you cannot afford leaving points to your opponent. So how do you defend? How do you defend? There are several options. One, you could ignore this, and then you could either stick this in with the road, or there's something I like better. I like better just continuing my road, because then when there's two attacking spots and your opponent attacks, you can always use the second spot to defend immediately. Whereas when there's only one attacking spot, your opponent can attack over here, and then as a result you can't continue this road. Another option that I quite like is this one. Exactly what they did, because they're threatening now to commit this city to the same tile as this. So this is a useful technique that you can just pick a tile and then partially block your opponent so that they need the same tile everywhere, and then regardless whether they get it or not, they will have some of their meeple tracked. But this is not working. However, another dilemma for Zach over here: do you complete your own city, or do you try and share your opponent's city? And it seems that they decided for this dilemma very quickly. But what we're having here is we're seeing blue with loads of problems. So I'm calling it now. I think that black will win this game. I just can't see how blue can recover. I mean, I can see, but they have to get extremely lucky. And here's the reason for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 triangles are out. You need a triangle here and here. So you already need half the triangles. And, well, that's a fantastic tile. Immediately over here. Just no questions asked. That's just a beauty. Do it. Or maybe not. No, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Then you're already at a stage of the game where you gotta start hoping for stuff. And here's also my point, right? So there's only 4 tiles that can go in those places. Yes, there are also triple cities, but the triple cities you need here, and there's only 3 of those. So pretty much, in order for you to continue the game successfully, there are only 7 tiles left. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So blue didn't have enough meeples, so they chose to forego this value. And I really think they had to take the risk over here, because you take the monastery spot so that your opponent doesn't take you. Because I can guarantee you this: as soon as black draw the monastery, they're putting that over there. This actually is extremely hard to play, so much so that I think what I would do now is not this, although I certainly like the idea of placing this cap so that you need a cap with a triple city, but you still have 2 meeples. You can meeple something. Like, why just drop stuff? But the move that I liked better is that you take this and you risk, and then you complete this over here above and start building a city. Because there's an interesting situation. 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 triple cities or quadruple cities left, but there's 1 of each kind, which means that, yep, GG, that this connection over here, this city over here, will be unblockable. The only thing that your opponent will be able to do is commit it to a 50%. But at this point, 50% should be good enough. Again, we're having another problem over here. Now imagine if blue had the monastery over here. Like, again, when you... Interestingly, when you're behind by a lot, you just can't spare meeples, really. And yes, black is getting the better tiles, but it also happens that blue needs the same tiles everywhere, and the pool of tiles that each of the players can work with are radically different in size. Again, like, what do you do? Exactly, so you can't finish this road over here. Well, you gotta connect here. Actually, another move I liked was maybe going like this, but doesn't matter. Now, what we're gonna see is probably something like this, or an option like this. Again, I would be surprised to see anything else rather than just black adding this to his own city. Well, yeah, okay, now you do it. At least that's what you have to do. Take away the monastery spot right before black snatches it, but black is cool. Black will take this one. And actually, I would purposely, I would go for, I wouldn't take this one, I would take this one, because they're both worth 5 points, but there's still a chance it's gonna get increased, because somebody's gonna take this stuff over here. And with so many meeples left, you don't really need to complete your monastery. But I'm loving this move as well. Now, if you're Zag, do you risk it? You probably risk. I don't know. Well, I guess you take the points. But that's true. But Zag had to block so that this city doesn't connect. But the thing, for a price of 1 extra meeple, black is getting 9 extra points. 9 extra points from the cities and an opportunity to expand. I think let's stay in this game long enough to see whether blue is completing his city or not. Because this game looks pretty much all the same way. Is that blue is leaving a tile, black is picking it up. Blue is leaving a tile, black is picking it up. And it's all because they need the same tile in the same place. Definitely the monasteries helped at the start, but it's something that could have been prevented, I think, with this move, if blue were to take away this valuable city tile. Well, that's certainly a fortunate draw in getting so many city caps. I guess you have to meeple this road now. 1, 2, 3. Nah. And yet another triple city goes into black's hands. I wouldn't bother with this one. I would just add it to myself. when they go for the complete destruction, and now blue has to make the uncomfortable move of taking this and facing it right here. Yeah, exactly, just so that he can continue. But then again, the reason why I would have taken this road with my last meeple, just so that black does not get this road himself. Oh, I'm surprised that they did that. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. So, because they're so far ahead that they want to be sure that there are zero chances of blue of completing this city. It's still going to be a sizable ruin, just not quite enough. Actually, remember, so when I was talking about this city and how blue could have prevented the expansion of the monastery by building a city or next to it, this is something that I learned from the Ukrainian player who unfortunately is not participating in this championship, Kirill Manikov, with a screen name Adrier. He likes, whenever your opponent has two monasteries, he likes to, at the price of one meeple, take an ugly looking piece of city and build it next to the opponent's monasteries, so that your opponents cannot continue the monasteries with favorable tiles. So for example, if they draw another monastery, they can't put a third monastery next to their two monasteries. So it often seems that if your opponent gets loads of monasteries, they're just getting lucky. But actually sometimes, in many cases, it is preventable. Oh, what a block! Oh, that's so painful. Oh, have a look at this. So many holes. That's almost it's like 2012 all over again. I haven't seen such Carcassonne in such a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes in the landscape. Okay, not holes, but like actual holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is so rare. Well, this might get filled. Well, yeah. It's very, very hard to play. And probably I don't think that blue could have saved this game, really. Oh, yeah, and also black is outdrawing blue in a massive way. But I remember when we started talking, so which do you prefer? Do you prefer two cities building one meeple with two cities? No, one city with two meeples, or two cities with one meeple. And that's sort of the drawback of this. I don't think really blue did anything wrong here. As you see, the German player is apologizing for his luck, which is I guess a nice thing to do, but I never do that. I sometimes acknowledge that. Okay, so it appears that Zach seems to be quite demoralized, but why would you say good luck in game 2? No. So I don't know if you remember when Dan Chard was on stream, is we discussed about the good luck wishes, and we figured that, you know, if the game involves luck, like it involves variance, you're being disingenuous if you're actually wishing your opponent good luck. I mean, you don't want your opponent to draw crazy tiles. That's just dishonest. So that's why some people say have fun instead. And then right after the stream, when Dan and I played, no, not Dan and I, but when Latvia played UK a few days after, Dan wrote to me that, well, I would say good luck, but that wouldn't be honest. So I wish you an enjoyable match, and I wish them the same. And I quite like that type of communication. Well, anyway, that was hard. Sometimes we get to watch this. So Probably would make sense to watch a little bit more of that duel. But there are other things. Whom shall we watch next? I mean, I wanna, I wanna watch Chris. I haven't watched Chris, but the thing is, like, he plays so fast. If he's not streaming, and I think he's not streaming today, because I would have noticed. That's a shame, actually, because yeah, that's already his second game. Well, I hope that at least it's just started. Oh, great, 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 great. And interestingly, the US player is outrating him. Even though, of course, as we remember, last year or so, Chris used to be, I think, even #1 in LO. I guess it's also going to be difficult to follow because the position's pretty straightforward. Well, it's one of those things which at first sight looks bad for yellow, but actually it's great for yellow. Well, not anymore. So this was a good move continuing the city, but now that this is coming, I'm not really sure what to do. Then again, also difficult straight line to play. I would probably place it to my monastery, put pressure on this city. I don't mind having 2 of my meeples blocked next to this guy. You could continue a road. Yeah, that's also a legit move, although that's a bit unfortunate because you really, 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 really want to curve. So that in the ideal scenario, you want to take a curve, and another curve, and another curve, and another curve, and another curve, and just create this giant 1, 2, 3, just a giant road that loops everywhere. Unfortunately, not always possible. It's starting looking better and better for black yet, but the opening battle is still not over. And if I were black, I would consider meepling this stuff. I mean, he's pre-building the road in the event that he draws this, but he will draw that. Yes, I like this very much. Trying to attack this city in a variety of possible ways. In the best case scenario, well, now meeple. Yes, that was the best case scenario, so that you actually get to continue monasteries and you get to neutralize the city. And you don't even have to sacrifice meeples for that. However, this point is super sensitive. It needs to be defended at all costs. And now, of course, there's no other move than to place over here, albeit reluctantly. Oh, no. That seems to be like the first misstep from Chris, because this was just, you're so short on meeples. And 1, 2, 3, 4, all starting tiles are out. And if I were black, I wouldn't even mind sacrificing a valuable tile just to get this 1 point meeple stay here forever. Because the problem with this stuff is that you could do that anytime. There's still plenty of connection tiles, and you don't have to sacrifice a meeple. I see what was happening is that they kind of thought that they would be created a sensitive spot over here, but this spot is completely unblockable because all of these 3 guys, they're still here. And yes, it is sometimes feels a bit annoying when you It sometimes feels a bit annoying when you draw the tile with which you're about to complete your city, and then your opponent blocks you immediately, which is why this was so time sensitive. Now again, I think this move, it gives you 0 points, right? It just reduces variance. What I prefer doing instead is spending my last meeple and with this tile placing it over here, attacking this city, because you can always take your meeple back, which I assume you're going to do now because you're short of meeples. Alrighty, spam bot is back. So maybe YouTube popularity is now permanent. I'm not sure, it wasn't usually this. this difficult? Oh, with the meeple, that's interesting. So they're gonna actually try and do another one. And the thing, well, okay, so maybe yellow being quite wise here knew something that I didn't, because this divider tile, had yellow not placed this meeple over here, black would have used this divider tile to snatch off the city completely. Now it looks like yellow is getting somewhere. If I were yellow, I would probably still go here, exactly because this stuff is still blockable. I like this move very much, making it harder to complete the city in case yellow does connect. And in the meantime, red is coming back into the game, despite the meeple advantage, getting points. Black has equalized, but still yellow is ahead in points. So let's actually count this up a little bit. +6, 3 over here, +9. Let's assume that this is going to be equal, because there's 9 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12, so -3 over here. But with these, so this is how you can play with one meeple, just getting some quick points, getting a piece of road, trying to squeeze in every move of value here and there. I'm quite impressed how Chris managed to turn this one around. So it may have been so that the loss of this meeple has been a calculated decision. Well, now he's just getting all the stuff to clean up, and with these quick points, yeah, really just quick points win games. You'd be surprised that very often solutions are quite simple to Carcassonne. And most of the time, top players just make very simple moves. Of course, sometimes there are exceptions. But it does seem to me that, like, at 200, 300, you make simple moves all the time. And then when you move on to 500, you start overcomplicating things. And then losing games, and then thinking that you're unlucky. And then when you're at 700, again, you are just making simple moves. And then just waiting until your opponent overcomplicates things. As you see, yellow managing to grab a nice insurance road. Love that move. Although, of course, yellow would have loved his own city, but you know, I forgot how it was called. Because I'm watching a German game, I just wanted to say that I want to say die Wiese einschränken. I think that's the word, but to limit the field. Yes, how you say in English. Because I'm just commenting this game, and I just imagine everything in German and in Chris's voice. Interesting over here, by the way. So you saw that yellow did not complete his opponent's city, even though he has 2 meeples tied up over here. That's of course the correct move, because meeples are more important than points. But oh, what a field over here. By the way, black knows his stuff. What black is trying to do is just play his meeple advantage. And you see he's trying to prevent these fields from getting connected. And what yellow would really like... Oh, wait! These 2 fields are not going to get connected. I just saw that. Oh, that's just brilliant, actually. So you see, black managed to score twice for these 4 cities, and black has a 20... You see, there are 8 squares, and black has 24 field points. That's just so huge. But because of these quick points everywhere, black has actually managed yellow has managed to create a lead big enough for it to become insurmountable. Because I think these 24 points are not going to be enough. So both players are tied in meeples. They're tied in the city over here. Oh yeah, by the way, Elias, great point. So remember this move over here, saying that Chris is doing -2 with his cap. By the way, also I think maybe Chris missed a chance to limit his field a little bit, but sure. But you still gotta do it to clean off a city cap, because if you don't do it, your opponent will do it. And now Chris will connect to the field, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So still 2 tiles that go over here, and still 1, 2, 3. Oh, 2 city caps. Perfect. 4 connection tiles. Here, field meeple. Because I think this move might have put black back in the lead. By the way, interesting how Chris drew all 3 tiles that fit here. I would still not complete your opponent's city, but I would place it over here. And with a field meeple. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Make it entertaining. The only problem is that this allows your... So if you use this platform over here at the bottom to connect to the field, it allows your opponent to reconnect. But it might be enough anyway. So let's think. Yellow is at +23 on the scoreboard. 5, 5. So this is equal to this. The road is equal to the city. But he also has 1 point city and 8 point monastery. So Chris is at +32. And to compensate, black has 9 cities over here for 3 points, 27. So actually Chris is at +5. So he can win this game, I think, quite easily. So even when placing this, you might even consider like meepling this monastery because it's 7 points. Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. I like that. I like this move a lot because this disincentivizes black from taking the city cap. And you also take 3 points already. So even if this gets blocked, you're at +8. So black needs to somehow find a way how to score 8 more points. The thing is, like, it's not enough for black to reconnect. In order for black to win, he needs to, first of all, complete this city, scoring 7 points. Yeah, do this, of course. Yeah, I just can't see a path to victory for black. That's, of course, is, you know, a good move, block and everything, but as black, you just can't do anything. So you have to hope for completing this connection and then getting a quick point somewhere else and only then reconnecting to the field. And it seems that there are not enough tile to accomplish all of these goals. So the German player here definitely, I think, grabbing onto the 100% probability of victory over here. Well, Black decided to take off a connection opportunity away from himself. I'm not sure why they'd ever do that. Okay, maybe that's one. You like, I think it was this. You take this, and then you try to connect to the field, but you still lose by 1 point. And also you don't, and also you don't get the connection anyway. So all Yellow has to do is just simply add 1 point to himself and recount the points. Yeah, wait, if I understood correctly, then as it looks now, Black is not getting the tile to connect to this field because all straight roads have already been used, and so you can't place this tile over here and hope for a connection. I have to say, I found this victory quite impressive. Sort of Yellow showing how to play Meeple disadvantage. Of course, won a few coin flips with quick points, but managed to successfully hold on and get some insurance. Well, I know. Sort of Chris likes to talk about luck a lot. And to his credit, he does that both when he wins and when he loses. So in this case, he's acknowledged, but it didn't seem to be like particularly lucky. It's sort of, yeah, a few coin flips here and there. But then also, Black managed to find great counterplay. So these two fields over here were actually quite hard to connect. And I think, the thing that made it difficult. By the way, also, I didn't quite realize how close it was. Oh no, it wasn't close. It wasn't close at any point because yeah, Black just got this city. That's why it was so close. Without this city, a field connection alone would not have been enough, I think. Also, board game arena is a bit confusing here because remember, like if the feature is shared, it shows the points in black, but then one of the meeples is also black. And you get that. Yeah, so here it means plus 12 for black only. Here it's plus 18 for both. So they really should have changed to purple or something. Anyway, I think we're going to congratulate Germany with its first big point. And knowing Germans, I assume the match is probably already over. We'll just have to have a look at the results. So, but let me just update it as it is. The favorites winning so far. What is happening with... Wait. Ah, yes, just gotta do this. And no, I gotta do this. So here also, Germany seems to be prevailing, and the second game between is about to get completed. So if the American player wins, we will watch their decider. Because I really hope that not everything ends up being 2-0. It seems to me that actually this is exactly what's going to happen. Because the fields are shared. Well, except this one. And this monastery is sort of offset with this city. This road with this road. It seems to me that, like, yellow. Oh, I did it again. Green. Green is leading by a couple of points. Why are they gonna take a road or something? I assume that. So do we get to watch a decider? Oh yes, by 3 points exactly. Alrighty, so I'm not rooting for anybody, but I always like to see more Carcassonne, so we get to watch this decider. By the way, interesting. So to those of you who are also players in this championship, also frequent Carcassonne players, which I guess is most of those who are live. So you see this last move, like you take 3 points. How do you decide? Like, do you take 3 points on the road or on the field? Obviously, it doesn't matter. Like from a game point perspective, but which one's nicer to you? Do you prefer taking a small 3-point field or a 3-point road? You know, when there are no tiles remaining and when it really, really doesn't make a difference. Especially if you're, you know, into stats, because then you increase either your average field points or your average road points. Wait, at the top, of course. No, not here. I normally, I think, take points with the road. Although I sometimes do both ways. Right, well, gonna keep refreshing. No, not like that. Alrighty, let's go. We get to watch a game from start to finish between two players with almost an equal rating. And here you see Mr. Loischer over here. I think that's their last name, like just Loisha with an ER at the end instead of an I. Is being honest. No luck wishes, just enjoy the game. Although I mostly enjoy games where I do win, but actually sometimes my wish to my good luck wishes to an opponent when I do that are genuine, because the most pleasant games to win, the most satisfying ones, are the ones where you get unlucky, where you don't get any tiles that you need and you still win. That's actually the most satisfying kind of victory. I mean, of course, in a tournament that matters, I prefer to have it easy. I prefer, you know, just draw 3 monasteries and not sweat. I also like the terminology of the so-called drunk farmer. Which means a farmer for 0 points, just so that you get to spend all your meeples at the end. Alrighty, back to the game. So we have a big city brewing. It's really more of an equal position, while with yellow with a minimum advantage. So actually, this is a hard city to play. It was a hard tile to place as well. Interestingly, yellow does not want to connect. Instead, he wants to break the city. But the problem with that is that there are 6 tiles. Well, not only, but there are 5 tiles that instantly give your opponent 3 points. Also, meeple. Yeah, now well, yeah, you could do that. But if I were yellow, I was about to say blue. I kid you not. I don't know why. Well, actually, my sort of verbal color blindness is consistent because I seem to be calling yellow red, and I seem to be calling green blue. But then I was about to call yellow blue for some reason. Anyway, but I didn't. I called them yellow. And they're placing people on the road. So they're watching the stream. That's great. And now they're going to place it over here. Do it. You could also do this. Aha. Starting a new city. That's great. So they're trying to capitalize on both the city part and the road part of a tile. Certainly something most advantageous at the time. And now, if you're green, you have a variety of options. You can do this, which I like, and this is my favorite move. There were some other alternatives as well, which were a little bit more conservative. Yes, this is a little bit risky because a couple of tiles have gone out that fit over here, but it's just too many points not to try that. All you gotta do is just leave this place alone. Exactly. Not try to defend. I like the orientation as well. Maybe I slightly like turning it the other way a little bit because it's a very subtle moment, but okay, so yellow prefers to break his own monastery a little bit, but I liked taking those 2 points. So now, this is the first like real mistake that we've seen, because there's no way that you don't take these 4 points. Like, this was a safe city, and now green had the chance to say that, and that's the first real serious misstep by yellow. So now making harder to complete the city. I quite like that. And then they can also turn it away and then make this guy vulnerable. So this attack is becoming more severe. There was one move that I liked a lot. I mean, it's okay for sure, but I think there's still many tiles that fit over here. And the move that I liked for green was pre-completing this 4-point road and at the same time making it slightly safer. Yes, same stuff, but with a That's interesting. Okay, so these moves you make with the meeple, basically. That's all there is to say. Because this is super safe. This is also okay. And, green doesn't really need a lot of meeples. He has enough meeples, and that was a 5-point monastery that is very easily becoming a 7-point or even an 8-point monastery, because this point is not very blockable. You see, this point from this attacking point is severely restricted, and this point is restricted as well. Well, it's not restricted, but yellow will not want to place anything here until yellow completes his own city. But not many tiles fit over here, so it's going to take a long time for yellow to complete his city. Oh, we have an attack on this. Of course, now green making life harder for yellow, because yellow probably, instead of taking 4 points, has to react to this, but yellow would have loved to just score a ring road. So often that's the value of these attacks, is that you just force your opponent to spend tiles and give you attention. Also, lovely move here by green. It's actually quite subtle. Instead of adding 1 point to himself, he pre-builds the field, and he wants to drop a field meeple right here. And by the way, here's the issue that I have. Imagine if black had the monastery. Green had the monastery over here. The monastery acts as a defense from blockers because this move was now productive. But imagine if green had a meeple on the monastery, then blue. Oh, why do I keep doing this? Yellow, Loishi. Then yellow would not have placed this tile over here because this would have added 1 point to green's monastery. So I don't think it's a well understood concept. It's a widely understood concept that sometimes placing a meeple on a monastery in a relatively vulnerable place is actually it makes it more secure, because the only way to block it is to add points to the monastery. But adding points is something that is a deterrent. Or if your opponent is willing to add points to your monastery, that makes it very close to justify the loss of your meeples, basically. But anyway, black... Green John Sheldal is doing just fine for now, securing his cities. Has a 75% chance of completing this, although yellow still has an opportunity to complete this city. There's still 1 tile remaining. I'm not sure if green will be okay with leaving this 50%. We'll expect an attack from green at some point. Now, yellow also has the advantage over here in the mini battle, a nice road over monastery mini battle, and however, green is about to complete this, and that's a hit to yellow. So it now seems to me that yellow needs this to win. Also, I like the strategy of green over here. It's fairly balanced. As you see, green is kind of using useless tiles for blocking and valuable tiles for, you know, getting value. And the reason why I can afford that is because there's a very low chance of this tile becoming right now, because there's only 1 of those left. Yeah, now I mean it's hard to be yellow right now. Yeah, you could do that, or you could meeple monastery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, no, this is actually this is a good move. I think it's worth it because it does take a lot of blocking tiles away from your opponent. In fact, there's only 1 blocking tile. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 9 curves actually. So this is an excellent move because it's the block of a block. And the only way to complete the block now for green is to use this. Yeah, but this is a bit unfortunate. But still, green gets some value. Well, yellow gets some value from this because at least green had to spend a useful tile, a monastery, instead of meepling an actual monastery or taking 2 points. And there was never a guarantee that yellow would draw this in the first place. Okay, so yellow needs to think of something real quick. Well, not that, but actually, why not? Why not? Maybe that's not that bad, actually. I quite like this. The field meeple, yes, you add 2 points to your opponent, but then you add some points to yourself as well. So it's a net +7 move. And what yellow's really hoping for is that if yellow finishes his road, he can drop another field meeple with tempo. Actually, I quite like that. An alternative was to take this tile and start building the city. But then it seems to me that many triangles have gone out and possible that idea wouldn't work. But when you're behind by a lot of points, sometimes a good strategy... Oh, let me check the chat. Oh, okay, nothing. Actually, nothing new. Sometimes a very good strategy is to try and build a new city and complete it, like, you know, for 10 or 12 points, All right. I guess. Oh, oh, interesting. I would have probably taken the 1 point, because it seems to be a bit of a wishful thinking. Like yellow is pre-building the city and then hoping to complete that. Yes, and it works. It works, which is why I did not like this move. Instead, what I really like for green should have placed an insurance meeple. But then the question is, yeah, do you take the city or do you take the field? Because this field might end up belonging. No, this will not get filled. I guess you take the field immediately. You have to. Hey, this gets interesting actually, and also there's no guarantee that blue will draw this tile. But this is precisely why I like the idea. I wonder, actually, possibly should yellow have dropped a field meeple there? Maybe it's one of those cases, maybe not. It's hard to tell. But it looks like yellow stands a fighting chance now. Because yellow has some meeples. Yellow has the advantage in this mini battle, and this mini battle, and this mini battle. Has a -1 disadvantage in this mini battle. And then there's this bit over here. So it looks like green might be leading by about 6 points, and it might all come down to this tile. That was a very interesting plan by yellow. And possibly what green could have done is maybe use this tile to drop a field meeple rather than using this valuable tile, because what green could have done instead is just taking 2 points elsewhere. We'll see if these 2 points end up mattering. The thing that I maybe not a huge fan of is the time management, because this move was made almost instantaneously without actually, it seems to me, without thinking what you actually need for a victory. But it could be like a psychological games from yellow, because yellow was behind and yellow started playing really fast because yellow actually started thinking fast, and then maybe they hope to induce their opponent into playing fast, and wow, we get a 6-point city, and that it will continue. Actually, I quite like that as well. Also, this city cap, it's very important who gets this city cap, because it will be +1 for yellow if yellow gets it, or +7 for green if green gets it. And I think if green gets it, this city cap, then they win. Oh wait, what a game, what a game. Okay. Yeah, yes, thank you for making fun of me, Elias. There is guarantee that blue won't get that tile. Hi, David. All right. Oh, we have many more players now. So I think while they are thinking, as they should, I got to remind you, first of all, several things. First of all, meeple that like button on the stream. It helps the algorithm a lot. I've actually noticed the difference. Once there are more likes, there are also more views, and sometimes from people who are not on Board Game Arena, although I'm not sure how often that happens. Of course, if you intend on watching these streams more than once, then be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon as well, so that you get the notification. Also, the subscribing helps the algorithm as well. And I will be giving away this 20-year anniversary Carcassonne set, yes, physical game with actual physical tiles, to the best, to one of my viewers, one of you, who are the best at predicting the outcome of the World Championship. So in order to participate in the draw, all you gotta do is leave a comment on either this stream or any other of my videos, saying your prediction for the championship, who's gonna get the first, second, third, and fourth place. You can do that at any time until June 19th. These are like the tiles from the 20-year anniversary edition. You see there's like a little 20 over here. I don't know. I quite like that. I definitely like it more than the design that has been used in World Championship. And I think part of that is why I think, slightly worse in live games. Well, actually, no, I do fine in live games. Is because it takes some time to adjust to the design of, I think, the early 2010s. And when was that? To sort of the new design, but this is not the newest, so basically this one. In the meantime, yellow didn't find a way to make a value move, but green did manage to get a meeple. Oh, by the way, my plan with the triangles would have worked. So an alternative for this was actually to build a city, but no, it's all okay. Probably not much that yellow can do at the moment. Actually, maybe meeple the city and try and build it and complete it. Maybe continue here, maybe continue here. I don't think there are tunnels left to finish this. Yeah, it's hard. Because yellow's at minus... Okay. Oh, was there? I think there was a way, but now, of course, green got a very good tile that will enable him to score 3 points over here. At least that's what I would do. Where can we see the most? So David is asking, where can we see the most recent cross tables groups with the result? You can see them on Carcassonne.cat. Actually, they publish them once a week after all the rounds are over. I guess let's finish watching this game and we can do that. By the way, if you're interested for the next stream, I can prepare sort of the group standings so that they're on screen, if that helps. Actually, let me know what I could improve about my stream. Like, do you want more different stuff on screen? Like, does it help to have the score breakdowns or the LOs of all the pairings or anything else? Because I tried doing that a couple of times, adding more information as to, for each individual pair, the score, but then it seemed to become quite cluttered, and I didn't quite figure out how to fit all that in. So ideas are most welcome. But yeah, we're gonna watch after this. Let's just duplicate that. Yeah, so basically you just go to here and you go to results and you go to group. Germany's in group A, I think. No. Yes. And as you see, Germany had 2 victories before that, so it looks like they're about to. Well, actually, it's too early to tell. It's really too early to tell. Yeah, so we're gonna go back to this. Green is still thinking. We'll dwell on the results a little bit later. Well, actually, let's check on United States real quick. United States also had 2 victories, one notably against Japan. So whoever wins gets to tie the first place with Netherlands and Japan. Oh, check this out. So, because Japan won Netherlands yesterday, if you were watching yesterday's stream, so Japan has 3 victories, Netherlands has 3 victories, 3 out of 4. Then either Germany or the United States will have 3 out of 4. So temporarily, this will be a battle for the top 3. And also, all these 4 teams have played against each other, and these are also nominally the 4 strongest teams. So actually, most likely, we're witnessing the battle for the playoffs. Oh, great, higher stakes. That's all we wanted. Pablo's asking why Latvia didn't come to the last cup in Essen COVID, and the short answer is yes. So Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania didn't come because the company deemed it unsafe and decided to not organize the national championships, both in Carcassonne and Catan. There will be a championship last year, and Latvia is participating. However, oh, interesting. And then all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3. No, nope, not happening. I was about to say that all of a sudden, yellow has a win condition, but no, they don't. Or do they? 1, 2, 3. Maybe. If they get a splitter, and then they get this, and then they get a city cap which might not exist. Oh no, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, is there really a path to victory here? Because yellow actually could separate, then do this, then this. But it might be quite hard. Yellow also would need to calculate the points. It could be possible that it's more productive to take 1 point over here and then just hope for another city cap. But then also the problem is you don't want to let your opponent to join over here. On the other hand, you're losing anyway, because if your opponent gets a triple city, then they're gonna connect over here. Lots of complicated calculations, and I think I would expect yellow to spend 4 minutes on that, at least. And so in the meantime, we can probably talk, because I don't think I have the capacity to compute that right now. Although 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I do see 1 triple city remaining. I do see 1 city cap remaining. And all I can say is that there is a theoretical chance of yellow completing his city. The question is, does he need that for a victory? He might as well do. Ellie is saying Estonia has done pretty good in person in Carcassonne, but I don't know if they can make a team. Well, it's not so much Estonia. I think it was really one Estonian, Timotei Gritsenko, who's actually quite good. I met him in person in Essen. I'm not sure if he's on Board Game Arena. I think he might. And yes, so Sheldal got the city cap that Loishi needed. Of course, they're going to place it over here, but they needed for it to come out in the exact sequence. And also the problem is that, yeah, green scored the 7 points over here, and it looks pretty much over. And I don't think there are any more city caps. Or are there? What about the starting tile? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it works. I mean, of course, the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not hallucinating. The only problem is that it will immediately get blocked unless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. There is sometimes this situation where you're about to complete a city, and then your opponent gets a tile with which they just can't block. But it doesn't look to be the case right now. However, it's still worth doing that, just so that they have to spend their last move on blocking. Elias, I think you're correct. I think it was 112. So 1 over 4 of getting this in the next move. I think it's actually it was 1/6 because there were 2 city caps remaining. Oh, but he got the city cap. He got the city cap. And then I'm pretty sure in 11 minutes, green will be able to figure that out. But that's an interesting situation, how these win conditions arise, how these win conditions arise. Definitely a creative play. Also, this means that it's going to be a big point for the US, and probably the fate has been decided. Well, yeah, so probably they figured that. But the thing, after this move, this city was not completable anyway. Actually, I think the chance was 0. Because with any tile... Yeah, I think maybe yellow should have just like tried to take the points. I don't know, because it was blockable. I think it was 0 chance. So had yellow gotten one of the city caps, green would have had an option to block no matter what they draw. With this, they make it a triangle. With this, they make it like a city with a field. So with any tiles, there was a chance to draw already. As we see, the US captain is watching from the sidelines. Wait a minute. It's only a 2-point difference. Huh. It's only a 2-point difference. So what would have happened if yellow just taken 1 point over here? Then green would have taken 4 points over here instead of 7. That would be 6-6. It seems that green would have won by 1 point or something. But yeah, I love situations like this where we actually need to calculate all the conditions. It's possible that there was another path to victory, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, most interesting ending. All right, so that's a big point for. That's a big point for. For the US. So the thing is, like, Pablo, you're saying that the US would have won, but in my scenario, instead of taking the last, okay, let's just go back to this. So instead of taking this 4-point road, blue would have taken the 6-point field that is there. If you get me, because there would have been a 6-point field. But then again, I think we can just dwell on that a little bit later. It was definitely clear that that yellow required a certain sequence of tiles to, instead of splitting. Yeah, instead of splitting, you take the city in the lower right, so you get +1 instead of 0. But then your opponent gets +4 instead of +7. So that's already 4 points difference. Yeah, I think so. But then green scores 6 points for the field. Yeah. It appears that actually yellow would have won. Anyway, let's just check. Is the match over, or is somebody else playing? I would expect the match to be over, but we have to just browse through and see what the results are. So first of all, on our board 1, It was a convincing one for the German. Now on board 4. Nope, not that one. Ah, Alan Robsky won 2-0. Well, he was the favorite though, so that's okay. So it's 2-2. So what was the remaining boards? I think it was Sebastian Werfel. And oh, the US won. Oh, so we did watch the decider game that was won by 2 points, and where Germany sort of had a bit of a chance. Alrighty, so despite the board gamey last name did not help Mr. Werfel to win this game. Well, that's some upset right there. We have to congratulate US then. Yeah, well, I said that it's gonna be 3-2, and it's gonna be tight. Oh, great! We watched the decider. So, excellent picks, and we've only taken a bit of time. So I guarantee you that China's still playing. Wait, you're saying no? Oh, China Colombia 3-2. So China Colombia is over. Yeah. Well, anyway, sorry to hear that, but at least you put up a fight with what I think is really one of the strongest teams by far in this. All right, Sergio, maybe which game do you prefer to analyze? Because I think it would be nice to look at China Colombia a little bit. Let's just look at the lineups real quick. So here we have. Oh yeah, so probably I'd assume that here we have. Pachitos as the favorite, Dremcat as the favorite. This is the tightest one. Yeah, I would expect probably victories on boards on tables 1 and 2 and losses on tables 3, 4, 5. Is that what happened? Well, we can check. So now it looks... Are we having a playoff without Germany? That would be most surprising. Because Germany lost to the Netherlands only. Yeah, it looks like Germany has some hills to climb. I mean, not impossible, but it will be a little bit hard. They will have 1 game remaining, and they can get up to 3 victories. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So we're gonna see the United States in the playoff, and what a surprise. So Germany has now extremely slim chances, and then also Romania hanging by a thread despite winning the game. Still early today, Romania has work to do. So many favorites are facing difficulties. All right, let's have a look at. Yeah, that's what I thought. Esteban's came. What else do we have? Let's look at. Oh, these are some nice close games. So I didn't expect that. I thought that Pachitos would win. So we have to watch this one. Yeah, I guess let's watch their second game. No, let's watch their first game. I don't know. Shall we watch the one that's like closer to? No, let's watch the decider one. Let's watch the one that's actually closer to this. Yeah. So these were some tight battles then. So I guess I'm gonna put the score 3-2 for China. And we're gonna watch their team captain, by the way. And I guess we have to watch it from the winner's perspective, right? Even though I appreciate most of my viewers probably rooting for Colombia, but it just makes it more convenient. Alrighty, analysis. We might even have time for 2 games actually. That's a very interesting move. So that's, well, I see a lot in East Asian players. So I think most of players would have just taken 2 points over here. So they definitely have a much higher blocking frequency, which sometimes makes it harder to adjust for certain many players. Interesting. Yeah, and now they will probably they won't exactly, so they won't like stop at nothing. Huh. But the reason why actually I'm not a huge fan of this move in the first place, yes, it worked now, but it in the long run it doesn't work. Because that's the thing. Sometimes like players who block a lot, I mean, of course you just have to keep your composure, but there's a bit of a psychological impact because trying to block always everything just has negative expected value mostly. Because there's still many tiles that give 2 extra points to green instantly with this move over here. I mean, it worked out now, but also in some scenarios this red meeple gets blocked a little bit as well. Interesting choice for the monastery. I would have placed it probably 1 to the left. Oh, that's a bit conservative. So actually this move is when you have a city in a safe space like this, it's much better to start another city. I mean, we've covered this so many times in Canal. Oh, nice, and that's a different one. So we have another spam bot. Also just got over 100 viewers. That's great. I mean, not concurrently. Concurrently it's 26. Yeah. It just so happens. So William is saying 3.5 hours on my own. The thing is, sort of my special guest couldn't make it, but tomorrow when I'm streaming Belgium versus Catalonia, there will be 2 of us. It will be a shorter stream, but it will be 2 of us. But it's, you know, so it will be very intense. So if any of my, do you have somebody from Belgium watching now? Nico or Raf maybe. So if you're here, please play slower tomorrow, so that we have time both to talk and look at your games, and also have closer games. Maybe like don't win everything 2-0. Well, so far things looking. How did green manage to make it so close? Because it's just looking great for red. I'm not really pausing to comment because of most of the moves are straightforward. Now we expect a defense. Oh, that's interesting. I would have expected a defense all the time. I really think it's actually better because there's still so many triangles left. And the thing is why I like defenses like this a lot. So if you place this tile over here and face it downwards, is not only because it's sort of safer to continue your city. It's actually what happening is that you're setting yourself up to get value from tiles from which it is normally hard to get value. Because here's the thing: at the moment here you need a city cap, but you can get value from city caps always anywhere. Just start a new city, or drop a city, or if you're afraid, drop a city cap next to a field. However, if you were to place this tile like this, then you already create value for triangles, even for triple cities in some situations. So remember, you gotta like expand the pool of tiles that are useful to you. Ah, why did nobody remind me? Script. But even without the script, I knew that there was only one tile left that fit here. This is kind of the standard situation, you know? It just adds a bit of extra insult to injury that your opponent blocks you with the tile that you need. So your opponent drew this tile and then made sure that you need the same tile. And yeah, and you see, as a result of all this blocking process over here, red ends up with 2 points and green ends up with 3 points. I mean, of course, red got quite fortunate in getting all these 2 monasteries. Remember, these are just beauties. But that's sort of, so the value in spending so much effort on blocking the start of the game is actually somewhat dubious. William, it won't be the same special guest tomorrow as it was going to be today. Maybe the special guest from today will show up in future weeks. That's an interesting move. Like, I don't see a point. I would just continue over here and then create a blocking threat. Because the thing is, what you might end up with, you might end up with this guy committed over here. This is not this is not really blockable. But there are some scenarios where where your opponent gets a regular curve, because there are just so many of them left. Like, you shouldn't really think that you're gonna succeed here, and then you're gonna end up with this road sticking into your city. Exactly. Well, yeah, this is just something I would have done a move before. So the Chinese player, by the way, also the only Chinese player whose name I know, only first name, not the first name, but like given name, because in Chinese your given name is not your first name, it's your last name. Yeah, his name is Xiaotong, but they are quite I don't want to say secretive, but they don't reveal their names publicly of their team, even though they do reveal their faces. They're one of the few teams that actually have photos of them in their profile pictures. Yeah, by the way, you see, like, exactly what I was talking about with this. So green ended up with just this facing into his city. He has a new city on his opponent's field, and he'll have to basically complete red's monastery for that. So this looks something avoidable, maybe? Something to think about. Yeah, well, also another thing is, I don't know, you're shorter meeples, and you're meepling a field which is worth 3 points. And then at a meeple disadvantage, you're going to start a big field fight. Also, you're pre-building a road for your opponent. Because red will just place this over here, I think. Oh, of course, blocking. Yeah. How could I forget? Always blocking, you know. No securing this road, no 6-point road over here, just just always blocking attempts. I mean, they sort of work. David is asking, have you ever thought of writing a game collection? I'm not sure what that means. What do you mean writing a game collection? Can you elaborate a little bit? Oh, in the meantime, you will have more time to do that because we have to remember. So it's move number 70. Board Game Arena is glitching. Yeah, well, of course. Oh, of course. We have to reload. At least remember that's move 70. But then again, the situation looks still very hard for green. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, of course. There we go. So I like very much when that happens. I do not like... this must have been a misclick, I think. Because this is such a small field and you don't take 2 points. And because you don't take 2 points... Yeah, wait, who's here? Sergio's here. Do you know if that was a misclick or not? Because the thing is, like, if you're actually to make this move in the game 30 tiles from now, there's this 6-point field and this 6-point field. So there's no urgency over here. This field has extremely limited potential because also not only can it be easily restricted, it can be restricted with extra value and tempo. So imagine your opponent gets this tile. They just place it over here, score 3 points, and you have no potential for expansion. And also, you're sacrificing a 2-point road, which you're not taking. So, in effect, you are putting an entire meeple for 4 points. So, like in chess, picking your most interesting games and analyzing them. Well, sort of, yes, but this is what I'm doing anyway. It's just not in the form of a book, but I've been doing that over the course of my channel. There's also several other games that I haven't done before. It just seems to me that we're living in an age which is increasingly visual, and it seems to me that most people who are interested in competitive Carcassonne would find the video format more engaging, that they would find, the same things described in the book. Although I was thinking that actually, so back in 2013, I thought that it would be nice to sometimes one time win the world championship in Carcassonne, so that I could then have the justification for writing a book about Carcassonne strategy. But then it's sort of the plans kept postponing them, and I also didn't really play much Carcassonne between 2017 and 2020. And then also Dan beat me to the book. I think he wrote a pretty good, an excellent strategy guide actually. So the thing that I could do is maybe write like a really advanced one, but that's where the videos come in. Oh, that's an excellent point. Yeah, Elias. So annotating a Carcassonne game would be very hard to read. So you just have to, because either you have to picture, have unreal, how do you call that, spatial thinking abilities, and then also you need a nomenclature. Well, there is a nomenclature for the tiles, but for the coordinates, maybe you could call this the starting tile 0 0, and this is 1 0, and this is like 1 1 1 2 and then this would be 2, 3, and so on, and this would be -1, 1. But this is just so hard to do, to imagine, and also this would look a little bit awkward. So imagine like this tile over here, it would be called, so a move placing a meeple on this tile could be notated as 1, 1 CCCFM, like for placing the meeple. Well, actually, I think you could learn to read that pretty quickly. But then the question is, in the visual age, why exactly do that? So Daniel, yeah, as I said, for the placing meeple, you could just put the letter M. For rotations, for rotation, I think that's pretty easily. So you call it, I would just rotate the letters in the tiles. So I'm calling this CCCF because it goes city, 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 field. But if it were rotated down, I would have called it CFCC. So you could do that. You just simply start from a fixed point and show the rotation. And as you see, so there's the thing now, just red is, green is trying super hard to expand his field, but there was just no need for that in the first place. And also, if you really, really, really want to grab that field, then maybe grab the 2 points first and drop the field meeple on the next move. So, I mean, knowing that green is a strong player, I'm pretty sure that was a misclick, so. Unfortunate development indeed. And yet, green is somehow up on the scoreboard. So lots of blocking, but while the blocking's happening, this means that the players are not exchanging points. And that, I guess, that favors the sides with fewer meeples. Yeah, I thought, Alan, I thought that orientation could be a value for 1, 2, 4, but I like the reshuffling of letters a little bit better. It seems to be a bit more intuitive, and it's also less stuff in the notation. Oh, right, where to place the meeple, but that's an excellent idea. K for knight, T for thief, M for monk, F for farmer. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, it looks like together we're gonna come up with some stuff and then just co-author a book. I'd love that. That's how the best ideas are born. All right. Well, it's so hard. So, okay, what's Pechito's gonna do? I don't know, maybe start a new city somewhere. There are a couple of city caps left. Yes. Oh, that's an excellent move, actually. Trying to just add city caps to your field. I mean, it is of course a bit painful because the thing, whenever you drop a city cap onto your field, the following thing is happening. Is that you're tossing a coin, but with much better odds. So you are saying that if you get the city cap first, you get 7 points. If your opponents get the city cap first, they get 1 point. So it's definitely something that favors you. But it doesn't change the fact that if your opponent gets the city cap, then they still get the +1 point. And they're more likely to do that. Huh. And you see, the only time the Chinese player doesn't block, it's actually somewhat benefits green over here. So this is one of those moments where maybe I would in fact block. I mean, it's still, of course, very hard for red to proceed. Yeah, getting a juicy road. Probably gonna see finally a meepled monastery. Exactly. And then we're gonna... Oh, but what we're gonna do? So I guess you have to place it over here, but what do you meeple? Maybe nothing. Ah, so you take 1 point. In a situation like this, possibly it would make sense to gamble. Possibly, I'm not exactly sure how far behind was green at that point, and what if green was behind at all? Let's actually double check that. So green is at +2. This is the mini battle is +1, so green is at +3. Ah, okay, we're checking this before. Anyway, let's just look at this right now. +3. Then this is uncontested. This is 7. So then green is at -4. Over here it's +1, so green is at -3. +1 again. Green is at -2. -1 again. Green is at -3. 2 fields. Huh, interesting. So actually green is at -3 only. So maybe that's an okay move. But let's say had green been more further behind, I like a lot the move. Actually, I still like it. Yeah, where you just place this tile over here and leave it empty, and you hope that you're the first on this city, or if you're not the first on the city, then at least first on this road. Or if you have the more meeples, you actually meeple one of those things. Yes, a good point about splitters and nomenclature. So we're still talking about like how to name everything. And in fact, I have been adding S because the thing for my videos, I have a picture of every tile that I add in my editing, and then in the nomenclature to distinguish, I add S for shield, and I instead of saying splitter, I say divider. I add D for divider because also you need to have S for shield. By the way, you don't not necessarily need. I don't think you need to specify monasteries because look, FFFF is definitely monastery. Alrighty, well, keep looking those ideas. We'll see the best ones. Actually, that would be interesting. Like, if anybody's willing to go through the trouble, can you maybe like, notate a game of yours? And we're gonna, and one of our next streams, we're gonna try and read that and see if we can understand that and imagine that in our minds. That actually would be excellent spatial thinking practice, because you know, like how they play chess blindfolded. You could play blindfolded Carcassonne and you just say, you know, somebody, let's say you have a host who says you the name of the tile, and then you just say, you know, CCCR 15 orientation 3. Meeple on the road, or like meeple on location D. Yeah, that would be hard. CCFF CC. So Daniel, CCFFD is divider, and S is for shield. So it's better to not use the word splitter. Anyway, back to the game. I'm sure you can discuss it amongst yourselves. I'm not sure what to do with this tile. We're just gonna see what. Ah, I like that. Adding points always helps. Oh, but then maybe you gotta think. Maybe you should have put that tile over here instead. I forgot that there were road ends still. Oh, it looks like we're getting something back. We are getting something back indeed. So it looks like there are a few flips until the end. Yeah, especially flip for this tile. That's the one that gave the victory. And I think maybe a way to go for green would have been place this tile next to your monastery, so adding 1 point instead of 2, make it harder to complete. And when you draw this stuff, you score 4 points yourself, so that your opponent doesn't score the 4 points. Because the thing, green won this coin flip, but green had the problem of needing the same tile everywhere, needing to complete his monastery, but also needing the tile to score 4 points for this road. Of course, now red winning this coin flip, the coin flip was worth 8 points, and I think that's actually the thing that sealed the game. That's a surprising move. I think it's time to either... Oh yeah, attack the field. Yeah. Are you gonna do that? Okay. What else can you do? Of course. Oh, that's a nice calculation. Yeah, that's of course is... that was just in time. The insurance move. So in order to win, the Colombian player had to draw a straight line first, place the meeple, and only then connect. And now, of course, he has to connect over here, giving points to red. Oh, and of course, and of course, green loses another coin flip at the end, because now green has to take 3 points. Why 1 point? You could take. I see that it is blocking, but it's not important because red has the stuff right here, and that's a 5-point move. Red would not have connected because, yeah, okay, that's probably the one mistake. But anyway, so green would have had like 2 more points. That's not such a big deal, really. Actually, wait a second. I think that the last thing, the coin flip, that's what made the difference, because we know that was -5. So it was -5, but then it was -3. It should have been -3 had green made the correct move. But then imagine if the draw was vice versa. Then red would be having a 3-point road. So red would have 2 fewer points. And green would have a 3-point city. So actually, yeah, it would be the same thing. It's just the difference would be only 1 point. Well, anyway, this is like one of those close positions that can be sometimes hard to play, in the sense that you have a lot of coin flips for quick points, and actually quite a decent game. I think after the misclick over here, the efforts of sort of expanding the fields were very good. But the Chinese player managed to secure the monasteries, and with the excellent move over here at the end, Xiaotong got a 8-point road, which secured them the win. Okay, I guess this probably one game is enough. All right, William saying you're already notating a game. Oh, so many great ideas. Already, we're almost at 4 hours, I think. Not quite. We're just a couple of minutes short, so it's not going to be our longest stream ever. It's going to be a second longest stream ever. It was much harder, by the way. I think it's more fun when, you know, there's there's more people talking. But anyway, thank you for listening to me for this many hours. Hopefully you got something out of that. Just remember tomorrow, I think that's 18 sharp UTC, so that's 19 in the evening, London time, Belgium against Catalonia with a special guest. Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I'm gonna see you soon.